There is an ancient whisper, a truth that echoes through time, not written in stone or buried in forgotten tombs, but woven into the very fabric of consciousness itself. It speaks not in words, but in a silent, resonant knowing. It says that the great cosmic quest, the relentless search for meaning, for peace, for God, does not lead outward to distant stars or hidden temples. It leads inward, into the silent, uncharted, and infinite territory of the self. How long have you been searching? How many roads have you traveled? How many books have you read? How many voices have you listened to? All in the hope of finding that one missing piece. You search for validation in the eyes of others. You search for purpose in the noise of ambition. You search for love in another's embrace, and for stillness in a world that never stops shouting. You have become a weary traveler on an endless pilgrimage, collecting maps that lead only to more maps, seeking a destination that seems to recede with every step you take. What if the exhaustion you feel is not a sign of failure, but a signal, a sacred invitation to stop, to cease the frantic, outward chase? Because the universe you are so desperately seeking is not a place to be found, it is a presence to be felt. It is not an answer to be learned, but a reality to be remembered. It is not separate from you. It cannot be. The creative intelligence that ignites suns and spins galaxies is the same intelligence that beats your heart and breathes through your lungs, right now, in this very moment. It is waiting for you, not in the future, not after you have become more worthy or more enlightened. It is waiting for you here, now, underneath the layers of thought, beneath the turbulence of emotion, in the profound stillness that is your core. This journey, the one we are about to embark on together, is not about adding more to your life. It is not about acquiring new beliefs or complex spiritual techniques. It is a journey of subtraction, of unlearning. It is an invitation to gently lay down the heavy burdens of who you think you are, so you can experience the boundless truth of who you truly are. It is a path to remembering, to come home. So take a breath. Let the outside world fade for a little while. The search is over. The universe is waiting inside you, and all you have to do is learn how to listen. Let us begin by turning our attention to the one place you have spent your entire life, yet may have never truly explored, the space behind your eyes, the realm of your own mind. For most of us, this inner world is not a sanctuary of peace. It is a storm of relentless noise, a constant, chattering monologue that begins the moment we wake and often follows us into our dreams. It judges, it worries, it remembers, it plans. It narrates our every action, critiques our every failure, and questions our every success. We have become so accustomed to this inner voice that we have made a fundamental mistake, perhaps the most profound mistake a human can make. We believe that this voice is who we are. We have mistaken the narrator for the author, the commentator for the player. The truth is, your mind, in its default, unobserved state, is an echo chamber. Imagine a vast, cavernous room with walls made not of stone but of memory. Every significant experience you have ever had, every lesson you were taught, every wound you sustained, every fear you absorbed, is etched into these walls. When a new thought arises, it does not simply exist for a moment and then vanish. Instead, it strikes these walls and begins to reverberate. It bounces from a past failure to a future anxiety, from a childhood criticism to an adult insecurity, picking up resonance, gaining volume, and losing its original form until it is a distorted, amplified caricature of itself. What you are hearing is not the present moment's truth, but the accumulated, reverberating noise of your entire life. This is the echo chamber of the mind. Let us look closer at these walls. See how they are lined with mirrors, but these are not clean, clear mirrors that reflect reality as it is. They are carnival mirrors, warped and misshapen by time and emotion. One large, looming mirror was forged in a moment of childhood shame. Whenever you contemplate taking a risk, your mind's eye glances at this mirror. and it reflects back a distorted image of yourself as small, incapable, and destined for ridicule. The reflection feels so real, so visceral, that you retreat, believing you are acting on present-day wisdom when you are merely obeying a ghost from a decades-old mirror. Another mirror was created by a past heartbreak. It reflects every new person through a filter of potential betrayal. You see not the person standing before you, but the echo of a past pain. And so you build walls to protect yourself from a phantom threat, unable to experience the fresh, unwritten reality of the now. The chamber doesn't just echo the past, it projects these echoes into the future. This is the source of anxiety. Anxiety is not a premonition, it is a memory projected forward. The mind takes the echo of a past failure, the feeling of that shame, that loss of control, and it creates 1,000 speculative scenarios where it could happen again. The what-ifs that plague you are not new creations, they are old echoes dressed in new clothes. What if I lose my job? What if they leave me? What if I get sick? Each question is a reverberation from a wall built long ago, a wall of scarcity, a wall of abandonment, a wall of vulnerability. And your body, a faithful servant, does not know the difference between a real event and a vividly imagined one. When the echo of fear bounces through your mind, your heart races, your breath shortens, your stomach tightens. You are physically living a catastrophe that exists only as a distorted sound wave in your inner chamber. You are trapped in a prison whose bars are made of nothing more than old noise. The most insidious quality of this chamber is that it is self-sustaining. The more you believe the echoes, the more you identify with them, the thicker the walls become. When the echo says you are not worthy, and you believe it, you carve that belief deeper into the wall, ensuring the echo will be louder the next time. When you argue with the voice, you are only creating another echo. When you fight a negative thought, you are giving it energy, pushing it against the walls with such force that it shatters and multiplies into 100 smaller, angrier echoes. You cannot win a shouting match with an echo. You cannot reason with a recording. The attempt to control the mind with the mind is like trying to flatten a turbulent lake with an iron. It only creates more ripples, more chaos. The core of the illusion, the linchpin that holds the entire structure together, is the process of identification, the belief that I am this voice, these thoughts are me. But listen closely. The voice talks to you. It says, you should be worried about this, or you made a fool of yourself. If it is speaking to you, then who is the you that is listening? Who is the one that is aware of this voice? Can the voice be aware of itself? Or is there a silent, witnessing presence behind the voice? An awareness that perceives the thought, just as your ears perceive the sound of traffic outside a window? The discovery of this listener, this silent witness, is the beginning of all freedom. It is the discovery that you are not the chamber, nor the echoes within it. You are the space in which the chamber exists. So for a moment, let us not fight. Let us not try to silence the noise or break down the walls. Let us simply do something radical. Let us listen, without judgment, without resistance. Close your eyes if you feel comfortable, and just allow the thoughts to come and go. Don't grab onto them. Don't push them away. Observe them as if they were clouds drifting across the vast sky of your awareness. Here comes a cloud of worry about tomorrow's meeting. Watch it drift. Don't climb onto it. Just notice its shape, its color, its texture. Ah, here comes a memory from years ago, a wisp of a cloud. Let it pass. Here comes a harsh judgment about yourself. Notice its electric charge, its sharp edges. You don't have to believe it. You don't have to defend against it. You are the sky, and it is just a piece of weather passing through. Do you feel that? A subtle shift. A slight sense of distance between you, the observer, and the thought, the observed. That distance, no matter how small, is a crack in the wall of the echo chamber. It is the first ray of light entering a room that has been dark for a very long time. In that space, there is peace. In that space, there is choice. In that space, you are not the victim of your own mind, but the silent, powerful witness of its activity. This recognition is the first essential step, to see the mechanism for what it is. The voice in your head is a machine, a playback device, a biological instrument conditioned by the past. It is useful for solving certain problems, but it is a terrible master. You have spent your life listening to the echoes, believing they were the only song in the universe. But they are not. They are just the surface noise. Now that we have become aware of the noise, we can begin to listen for what lies beneath it. We can attune our inner ear to a different frequency. We can begin to listen for the silence, the profound, intelligent silence from which all sounds arise, and to which they all, eventually, return. Having recognized the mind as an echo chamber, a relentless generator of noise, you might feel a sense of unease. It is a disorienting moment, like discovering that the solid ground you've been standing on your entire life is actually a spinning, turbulent machine. If I am not the voice, if I am not the endless stream of thoughts, judgments, and worries, then what am I? Where do I find myself? The answer, both simple and profound, does not lie in finding a better thought or a more positive narrative to replace the old one. The answer lies in what you have been trained your entire life to ignore. It lies in the gaps, in the pauses between the words, in the stillness between the notes. It lies in the silence between your thoughts. This silence is not an emptiness. It is not a void. It is a hidden dimension of your being, a foundational layer of reality that is always present, just beneath the surface of your mental activity. We overlook it because we are conditioned to be fascinated by form, by the objects of consciousness, not by the consciousness itself. We focus on the drama of the movie, not the silent screen on which it is projected. We are captivated by the words on the page, not the pristine white paper that allows them to exist. The journey inward is a retraining of your attention, away from the fleeting phenomena of the mind, and towards the timeless, formless background from which they all emerge. Let us return to the metaphor of the sky. Your thoughts, emotions, and sensations are like the weather. They are the clouds. On some days, the clouds are dark and heavy, gathering into a formidable thunderstorm of anger or despair. On other days, they are light, white, and puffy, drifting lazily in a state of contentment. Sometimes they are thin and wispy, barely there at all, like a fleeting memory or a passing idea. All of these clouds, regardless of their shape, color, or intensity, share a single, unifying characteristic. They are transient. They are always moving, always changing, always passing through. They are not, and never have been, a permanent fixture. You have spent your life believing that you are the weather. When the storm of anger rages, you say, "I am angry." When the fog of confusion descends, you say, "I am lost." You have identified so completely with the passing clouds that you have forgotten your own elemental nature. What would happen just for a moment if you were to let go of your identification with the clouds and remember that you are the sky? The sky does not fight the storm. It does not cling to the sunny day. It simply allows the weather to be as it is, because it knows, on a fundamental level, that it is untouched by any of it. The fiercest hurricane cannot tear the sky. The darkest cloud cannot stain it. The sky's nature is one of boundless, silent, and peaceful allowing. It is the vast, open, conscious space in which all experience happens. This spaciousness, this silent, witnessing awareness, is your true home. It is who you are. This may sound abstract, but it is the most concrete reality there is, and you can access it right now. Let us perform a simple experiment together. We will not try to stop the thoughts. We have already learned the futility of that battle. We will simply use an existing rhythm in the body as a portal, a secret doorway into the silent space we seek. Bring your attention to your breath. There is no need to change it or control it. Just feel the sensation of the air entering your nostrils. filling your lungs. Then feel the sensation of it leaving your body. Now, let us refine our focus. Follow one single, complete breath. Be intensely present for its entire duration. The inhale, and notice the very brief, almost imperceptible pause at the peak of the inhalation before the exhale begins. In that moment, the body is full, suspended in time. Then the exhale, the gentle release. Follow it all the way to the end. And here, at the very bottom of the exhale, before the body's wisdom initiates the next breath, there is another pause, a stillness. This gap is often longer, deeper. In these two gateways, these moments of pause at the top of the inhale and the bottom of the exhale, the chattering mind often falls silent. For a fraction of a second, there is no thought. There is no past, no future. There is no story of me. There is only pure, simple, silent being. This is the gap. This is the space between thoughts. It is a direct experience of the silent, formless field of awareness. That is your true nature. Let us rest here for a moment. With your next breath, let your attention be soft, like a feather, resting in that stillness at the end of the exhale. Don't strive for it. Don't try to make it longer. Simply notice that it is there, a tiny clearing in the dense forest of your mind, a moment of peace. And when the next thought inevitably rushes in to fill the space, do not be discouraged. This is the habit of a lifetime. Do not judge it. Do not follow it. Simply acknowledge ita, a thought, and, with your very next breath, gently guide your attention back to the breath and back to the search for the next silent gap. Each time you do this, you are performing a revolutionary act. You are withdrawing your energy and your belief from the noisy echo chamber and investing it in the silent sanctuary within. You are loosening the chains of compulsive thinking. You are creating new neural pathways, pathways of peace, pathways that lead home. At first, the gaps may feel fleeting, almost non-existent. But with gentle, persistent practice, you will find them widening. The silence will begin to permeate your experience, even when thoughts are present. It will become the background music to your life, a constant underlying hum of peace that is unshaken by the surface-level noise. This silence is not empty. It is pregnant with intelligence. It is the womb of creation. All true insight, all genuine creativity, all profound intuition arises not from the chattering mind, but from this field of stillness. The mind can only rearrange what it already knows. It is a processor of old information. The silence, however, is a connection to a vaster intelligence. It is the source of the aha moment, the sudden flash of inspiration that solves a problem you've been wrestling with for weeks. It is the quiet inner knowing, the gut feeling that guides you in the right direction when logic fails. When you learn to abide in the space between thoughts, you are no longer limited to the finite resources of your personal mind. You are plugging into the universal mind. You are allowing the wisdom of the cosmos to flow through you. So the practice is simple. Throughout your day, remember the breath, remember the gaps. When you are waiting in line, when you are stopped at a traffic light, when you are listening to another person speak instead of retreating into the echo chamber of your mind, come back to the breath. Find the silence. Feel the stillness that is always there, beneath the surface. You are not trying to achieve a future state of enlightenment. You are simply recognizing the enlightened dimension that is already present in you, right now, in the space between two thoughts, in the stillness between two breaths. This is the beginning of knowing yourself not as the cloud, but as the sky. And as you become more familiar with this vast, silent space, you will begin to notice something else within it, a presence, a silent, unwavering consciousness that is aware of the thoughts and is also aware of the silence itself. This is the next step of our journey, to formally be introduced to the observer within. As we rest in the quiet space between our thoughts, a new perception begins to dawn. We become aware not only of the fleeting clouds of thought, but also of the vast, silent sky. We notice not only the noise, but also the silence. And in this dawning perception, a crucial question arises. Who is it that is aware of both? Who is this silent witness that can perceive the mind's activity without being entangled in it, and can also perceive the mind's stillness without needing to define it? This is the moment of our formal introduction to the most essential, powerful, and authentic aspect of your being. This is the observer within. The observer is not something you need to create, cultivate, or achieve. It is not a new skill to be learned. It is a recognition of what you have always been beneath the layers of personality and conditioning. It is the core of consciousness itself, the silent, unmoving center around which the wheel of your experience has always turned. It is the part of you that was there during your greatest triumphs and your deepest sorrows, the part that watched your childhood unfold and is watching your present moment right now, unchanged, unharmed, and eternally at peace. It is the timeless subject, aware of the ever-changing objects of your life. To understand its nature, imagine a lighthouse standing on a rocky promontory, facing the open sea. The sea is your mind, your emotional world. On some days, it is calm, glassy, and serene. On others, a violent storm erupts. Enormous waves of anger crash against the shore. A thick, disorienting fog of confusion rolls in. Sharp, cutting winds of anxiety howl relentlessly. The lighthouse does not participate in the storm. It does not try to calm the waves or shout back at the wind. It does not fear the fog. Its function is singular and unwavering, to stand its ground and to shine its light. This light is the beam of your impartial awareness. When a giant wave of anger rears up, the light of the observer does not judge it as bad or try to suppress it. It simply illuminates it. It shines on the wave, revealing its immense power, its texture, its color, its raw energy. And in the act of being illuminated, the wave is seen for what it is, a temporary surge of energy that will crest, crash, and recede back into the great sea. By being the lighthouse, you are no longer the small, helpless boat being tossed about by the waves. You are the unshakable foundation, the steady light that witnesses the storm without becoming the storm. You realize you are not the anger. You are the space in which the anger is allowed to happen. You are the witness, not the event. Let us put this into practice. It is a subtle shift, but one that changes everything. Right now, as you are sitting, allow your inner world to be exactly as it is. Give it permission. For the next few moments, your only task is to be the lighthouse. You are not trying to fix, change, or improve anything. You are simply noticing. A thought arises. Perhaps it is a worry about a task you must complete. The old habit is to grab onto that thought, to follow it down a rabbit hole of further worries and plans. The practice of the observer is different. As the thought appears in your consciousness, you simply turn the beam of your awareness towards it. You don't engage, you don't analyze. You simply acknowledge it, perhaps with a silent, internal nod. A thought of worry. And then you let it go. You watch as it drifts out of the beam of light and dissolves back into the quietness from which it came. You remain as the lighthouse, waiting patiently for the next thing to appear. Now, a feeling may bubble up from within, a subtle pang of loneliness, a flicker of irritation, a warm glow of affection. The habit is to either be swept away by the feeling or to immediately push it down, especially if it is uncomfortable. As the observer, you do neither. You turn the light of your awareness toward the feeling, and you ask, where does it live in my body? Is this loneliness a hollow feeling in my chest? Is this irritation a tightness in my jaw? Instead of getting lost in the story about the feeling, you bring your awareness directly to the raw physical sensation of it. You illuminate it with your presence. It is just energy. It is not you. It is weather passing through the vast space of your being. Witnessed without judgment, this energy is allowed to complete its natural life cycle. It will transform, and it will pass. Do this with all phenomena: the sound of a passing car, the feeling of the air on your skin, an itch on your arm, the rhythmic beating of your own heart. These are not you. These are simply things that are happening, objects appearing in the vast, open field of your awareness. The thought stream says, "That noise is annoying me." The observer simply notes, "Sound is present. A thought of annoyance is present." Can you see the immense freedom in this distinction? You are no longer the victim of your experience. You are the silent, spacious host to all experience. This observer has qualities that the thinking mind can never possess. The first is impartiality. The mind is a machine of judgment. It labels everything: good, bad, right, wrong, better, worse. This constant labeling is exhausting and creates endless internal conflict. The observer, like the lighthouse, does not have a preference. It shines its light just as steadily on a negative thought as it does on a positive one. It sees the beauty in the storm and the calmness in the sunshine. By identifying with the observer, you begin to transcend the inner civil war. The second quality is absolute presence. The thinking mind is almost never here. It is perpetually lost in regret about the past or anxiety about the future. The observer, however, can only exist in the now. Its very function is to witness what is. It cannot witness what was or what might be. Therefore, the simple act of stepping into the role of the observer automatically pulls your entire being into the present moment. It is the ultimate anchor in the now. From these qualities arises the ultimate gift: freedom. True spiritual freedom is not about having a perpetually happy or quiet mind. It is the unshakable realization that you are not the content of your mind. You are the context in which all content appears. When a painful memory arises, the personality, the me, suffers. But the observer simply notes, a memory is arising. Sensations of sadness are present. This space between the witness and the phenomenon is the space of liberation. The pain might still be there, but the suffering, the story we tell ourselves about the pain, begins to dissolve. You are moving from being a character tossed about in the unpredictable drama of a play to realizing you are the silent, loving, and spacious awareness that holds the entire stage, all the actors, and all the action in its non-judgmental gaze. This is your true power. This is your true identity. This observer, this silent witness, while formless and vast as the sky, has a sacred connection point to this physical world. It needs an anchor to keep it grounded in the present moment, especially when the storms of life are raging. That anchor, that sacred point of contact between the timeless and the timely, is your own body. We have met the silent observer within, that vast, formless consciousness that witnesses our life without judgment. Yet, there is a paradox. We are not meant to live as disembodied spirits floating in a cosmic void. We are here, in this world, in this experience. This formless awareness has chosen to express itself through form. And for this observer, this witness, there is one place of absolute grounding, one sacred point of contact, where the timeless meets the timely. It is the very thing we have been taught to ignore, to discipline, to resent, or to treat as a mere machine. It is your body. For centuries, a great spiritual misunderstanding has been perpetuated. We have been told that the body is a cage for the soul, a source of temptation, a temporary and troublesome vessel of flesh and bone that hinders our ascent to higher realms. We treat it like an animal to be tamed, or an instrument to be used and discarded. We live our lives from the neck up, our consciousness trapped in the echo chamber of the mind, viewing our body as little more than a vehicle to carry our head from one place to another. This profound disconnection is the source of so much of our anxiety and our feeling of unreality. We have abandoned our home and wonder why we feel so homeless. Today, we reclaim the body. We rewrite the story. The body is not a prison. It is a sanctuary. It is not a machine. It is a miracle of living intelligence. Most importantly for our journey, the body is not an obstacle to presence. It is the most powerful and reliable anchor to the present moment that you will ever possess. While your mind is a time machine, constantly flinging your awareness into the imagined future or the dead past, your body knows only one time, now. It knows only one place, here. It cannot be anywhere else. To be fully in your body is to be fully in your life, for life only ever happens in this present moment. Think of it as a living compass. When you are lost in a storm of anxious thoughts, caught in the powerful currents of memory and projection, the needle of your mind spins wildly, pointing everywhere and nowhere. But the compass of the body always has a true north. Its needle points unwaveringly to the reality of the here and now. Every sensation, no matter how subtle, is that needle calling you home. The feeling of your feet on the floor, the rhythm of your breath, the steady beat of your own heart, these are not mundane distractions. They are sacred invitations. They are portals out of the prison of thought and into the freedom of being. Let us embark on a journey, not to a distant land, but into the inner landscape of your own physical form. Let this not be a mechanical exercise, but an act of profound homecoming. Find a comfortable position and gently close your eyes. Bring your awareness, that beam of light from the lighthouse, to the soles of your feet. Without wiggling your toes or moving at all, simply feel them. Feel the points of contact with the floor or your shoes. Notice the temperature, the pressure, the subtle tingling of aliveness. Can you feel the life energy in each of your toes? This is not an idea. It is a direct sensation. You are inhabiting your feet. Follow this awareness up through your ankles, into your calves, your shins, your knees. Feel the strength and solidity of your bones, the suppleness of your muscles. These legs have carried you through your entire life. For a moment, just feel them with gratitude, with simple, accepting awareness. You are grounded, you are connected to the earth. Now bring that gentle beam of attention into the area of your pelvis, the base of your torso. Feel the weight of your body, the solid support of the surface beneath you. Allow the awareness to seep into your abdomen. Beneath your hand, if you place it there, a world of silent, intelligent activity is unfolding. The process of digestion, the gentle rise and fall with each breath. You do not have to do any of this. An intelligence far greater than your thinking mind is orchestrating a symphony of life within you. Move your awareness to your chest, to the space around your heart. Can you feel its steady, rhythmic beat? This is the drum of life, a rhythm that has been with you from before your first thought and will be with you until your last. It asks nothing of you but to be felt. Feel the expansion of your lungs, the miracle of air, of spirit, entering your body, nourishing every single cell, and the gentle release of the exhale. Let the light of your awareness now flow down your shoulders, a place where so much tension is stored. Do not try to force it to relax. Simply bring your gentle, loving attention there. Let the awareness know it is okay. I am here with you now. Feel it cascade down your arms, through your elbows, into your forearms, your wrists, and all the way into your hands. Your hands are instruments of incredible sensitivity. Feel the palms. Can you perceive a warmth, a tingling, a subtle vibration of energy? Feel the space between each finger. You are not thinking about your hands, you are being in your hands. Finally, guide your awareness up through your neck, into your face. Soften the jaw, a place where we clench against life. Relax the tiny muscles around your eyes. Let your tongue rest gently in your mouth. Feel the air on your skin. And now, expand your awareness to include the entire body at once. Feel your whole body, from the soles of your feet to the crown of your head, as a single, unified field of aliveness. A humming, vibrant, energetic presence. This feeling, this sensation of your inner body, is the feeling of the present moment. There is no anxiety here. There is no regret. There is only simple, peaceful, vibrant being. This is your anchor. This is home. Whenever you find yourself lost in the echo chamber, swept away by a storm of emotion, this is your refuge. You do not need to sit in formal meditation. In the middle of a difficult meeting, feel your hands. While waiting in line, feel your breath in your belly. While walking, feel the soles of your feet making contact with the ground. Each sensation is a thread pulling you out of the unreality of thought and anchoring you in the truth of the now. The body is not just an anchor, it is also a wise messenger. That tightness in your throat before you speak, that knot in your stomach when you are about to make a decision, that sudden wave of fatigue, these are not random malfunctions, they are communications. They are a form of primal intelligence, a wisdom that speaks not in words, but in sensations. When you learn to inhabit your body, you learn to listen to its language. You begin to trust its guidance, a guidance more reliable than the contradictory voices of the mind. So let go of the old story of the body as a burden. Embrace it as your most faithful friend, your most reliable teacher, your most sacred anchor. To be embodied is to be present. It is the practice, the path, and the destination all at once. And now that we are firmly anchored in this physical vessel, this sacred ground of being, we are far better equipped to navigate the more volatile energies that flow through it. We are ready to face the powerful currents of emotion. And we will learn that these too are not enemies to be conquered, but another kind of compass, messengers carrying vital information, pointing the way back home. Having anchored ourselves in the living presence of the body, we are now steady enough to face the great, turbulent energies that flow through it. We are ready to approach the subject of emotion. For most of humanity, the emotional world is a battlefield. We live in a state of perpetual war, desperately chasing emotions we label good happiness, excitement, love, and running in terror from those we label bad fear, sadness, anger, shame. We become addicts of the positive, seeking our next hit of pleasure, and phantoms of the negative, contorting our lives into knots to avoid feeling discomfort. This entire struggle is based on a profound misunderstanding. Emotions are not your enemy. They are not a punishment, nor are they a random affliction. They are a vital, sophisticated, and deeply intelligent guidance system. They are a language, and learning to understand this language is the key to navigating your life with wisdom and grace. Let us once again use the metaphor of the weather. If thoughts are the individual clouds, then emotions are the entire climate of a given moment. You are the vast, open sky of awareness, and your emotions are the weather that passes through you. Some days, the weather is the brilliant, warm sunshine of joy, and everything feels effortless and bright. On other days, a sudden thunderstorm of rage can erupt, with flashes of lightning and deafening thunder, shaking your very foundation. There are long periods of cold, gray drizzle, the persistent, low-grade weather of sadness. And there is the thick, disorienting fog of confusion, where you cannot see the path ahead. Our mistake has always been to believe that we are the weather. When the storm of rage appears, we proclaim, "I am angry." When the sunshine of joy shines, we say, "I am happy." We identify so completely with the temporary atmospheric condition that we forget our true nature as the sky itself. The sky does not become the storm. The sky is the changeless, silent space in which the storm is allowed to happen. It does not fight the rain or cling to the sun. It understands that all weather is temporary. Fighting the weather is not only futile, it is exhausting. To rage against a thunderstorm is to add your own shouting to the chaos. To try and hold on to a sunny day is to live in constant fear of the first cloud. The path of wisdom is the path of the sky, to allow the weather of your inner world to be as it is, knowing that you, the vast space of awareness, remain unharmed, untouched, and eternally present. By allowing the storm to rage, you create the very conditions for it to pass. This allowing is not a passive resignation. It is an active, courageous, and deeply compassionate practice. It is the practice of sitting with the messenger. So let us try this now. I invite you to gently call to mind a recent emotion that was mildly challenging. Perhaps a feeling of irritation, a pang of impatience, a wave of anxiety. Do not choose a deep trauma for now. Select a manageable piece of weather. The first step is to drop the story. The mind will want to tell you why you are irritated because of what someone said, because of the traffic, because of an unmet expectation. Let those stories go, just for a moment. They are the clouds, not the rain itself. Now, bring your awareness into the anchor of your body and ask a simple question. Where does this emotion live? Where do I feel this irritation as a raw physical sensation? Is it a tightness in your chest, a churning in your stomach, a tension in your shoulders or jaw, a buzzing heat in your face? Be a curious scientist of your inner world. Locate the emotion's physical signature. By doing this, you have already performed a magical act. You have taken an overwhelming, abstract concept called irritation and transformed it into a localized, manageable physical sensation. The next step is to breathe into it. This is the opposite of our conditioned reflex, which is to constrict, to tighten, to push the feeling away. Instead, I want you to imagine that your breath can be directed to that specific area in your body. With each slow, deep inhalation, visualize your breath carrying warmth, oxygen, and spaciousness directly into that knot of tension. You are not trying to blast it away. You are gently surrounding it, creating space around it, giving it room to be. With each long, soft exhalation, feel a gentle softening, a release, a letting go. You are not demanding that the sensation disappear. You are simply saying to it with your breath, I see you. You are welcome here. I am not afraid of you. As you continue to sit with the sensation, breathing into it with gentle acceptance, a shift will begin to occur. The intensity may lessen, the sensation might change its shape or move to a different area. It is being metabolized by your conscious presence. Now, in this state of greater calm, you can move to the final step. You can ask the emotion as if it were a wise visitor, a simple question. Ask it from your heart, not your analytical mind. You might ask, what is your message for me? Or, what do you need me to know? Or, what boundary has been crossed? Then, listen. Listen in the silence. The answer may not come in words. It may come as a sudden insight, a new feeling, a memory, or just a quiet inner knowing. You might discover that your irritation is the messenger of a violated boundary, a sign that you need to speak your truth more clearly. Your anxiety might be a messenger of a place where you are not trusting yourself or the flow of life, a call to practice more surrender. Your sadness may be a messenger of something you truly value, something that needs to be mourned and honored. The emotion was never the problem. It was a compass needle, pointing directly to a part of your inner world that was calling for your conscious, loving attention. This is the true function of emotion. It is an energetic compass. The emotions that feel expansive joy, peace, gratitude, love are your inner guidance system saying, yes. This thought, this action, this belief is in alignment with your true self, with the flow of the universe. They are a vibrational confirmation that you are on the right path. The emotions that feel contractive, fear, anger, shame, despair are the very same guidance system saying, number. This thought, this action, this belief is out of alignment. It is based on a falsehood. It is a departure from your true nature. These emotions are not a punishment. They are a loving alarm bell, a compassionate call to course correct, to return your attention to what is true. When you learn to see emotion in this way, your entire relationship with your inner world is transformed. You are no longer a victim of your feelings, tossed about by unpredictable storms. You become a wise sailor who understands the language of the wind and the currents. You learn to work with these powerful energies, using them as a guide to navigate the vast ocean of life. Your emotional world ceases to be a battlefield and becomes a source of profound wisdom, a trusted ally on your journey home. And as we become more fluent in deciphering this inner guidance system, this intimate language of feeling, we begin to notice a startling and profound correlation. We start to see that the inner weather of our emotional world is perfectly and precisely reflected in the outer landscape of our daily lives. The world we are about to discover is not a random collection of disconnected events. It is a flawless mirror. Having learned to read the subtle language of your inner world, to hear the messages carried on the currents of emotion, you are now ready for one of the most profound and challenging shifts in perception a human being can make. It is a truth that, once fully embraced, dissolves all victimhood and returns to you the full, awesome power of your creative spirit. As you have become more attuned to your inner state, you have likely begun to notice a strange and undeniable synchronicity. You notice that on days you feel an inner sense of lack, you experience outer events of scarcity. On days you feel a deep inner peace, the world around you seems to cooperate with a gentle and harmonious flow. This is no coincidence. It is the master key to understanding the nature of your reality. The world is not a solid, separate, and random collection of events and people that happen to you. The world is a flawless mirror, a living, breathing, three-dimensional reflection of your own consciousness. This is a radical reversal of perspective. The default state of the human ego is to see itself as a small, vulnerable entity in a vast, unpredictable, and often hostile world. From this viewpoint, life is a series of things that happen to us. We are praised or blamed, promoted or fired, loved or abandoned by forces outside of our control. Our primary emotional response to life becomes one of reaction. We feel happiness when the world gives us what we want, and we feel suffering when it does not. The game of the ego is to endlessly manipulate the outside world, to rearrange the reflections in the mirror, hoping to finally find an image that it likes. And it is an exhausting, futile game, because it is based on a fundamental illusion. You cannot change your reflection by polishing the mirror. You can only change the reflection by changing the face that looks into it. Imagine you are walking through a vast and magnificent art gallery. This gallery is your life. As you walk, you see countless paintings. There is a dark, turbulent painting of conflict, depicting a difficult relationship with a family member. There is a stark, gray painting of scarcity, showing a bank account that is always emptier than you would like. There is a confusing, abstract painting of uncertainty, representing a career path that feels directionless. And there are beautiful paintings to a warm, sunlit portrait of a loving friendship, a vibrant landscape of creative success. Believing yourself to be merely a visitor in this gallery, you judge the paintings. "I love this one," you say, standing before the painting of friendship. "I despise this one," you proclaim, turning away in disgust from the painting of conflict. You might spend years complaining about that painting, telling everyone who will listen how flawed and ugly it is, wishing the gallery owner would just take it down. But the secret of this gallery, the secret of life itself, is that you are not just the visitor, you are the artist. Every single painting in that gallery was created by you, painted with the invisible colors of your own beliefs, emotions, and deeply held assumptions about yourself and the world. The difficult person did not create the painting of conflict. They were simply the perfect model who agreed, on a soul level, to pose for the masterpiece of unresolved anger you needed to paint. The world is your canvas, and your consciousness is the brush. How does this mechanism work? How can our inner state possibly manifest as the solid-seeming reality around us? It operates on several levels. On a psychological level, it functions through the mechanism of projection. We all carry within us a shadow, a bag filled with all the parts of ourselves that we have disowned: our anger, our fear, our greed, our power, our radiance. Because we cannot bear to see these traits in ourselves, we unconsciously project them outward and see them in others. The person who infuriates you with their arrogance may simply be mirroring a seed of arrogance in you that you have suppressed. Or, perhaps more likely, they are mirroring the very quality of sovereign self-confidence you were taught was arrogant and have therefore denied yourself. You are not angry at them. You are angry at the reflection of a freedom you do not allow yourself to have. Likewise, the person you idolize, the one you place on a pedestal for their talent or courage, is a mirror for your own unexpressed potential. Your admiration is the proof that the same quality exists within you, waiting to be recognized and embodied. The world populates itself with your own disowned parts, giving you endless opportunities to see them, reclaim them, and become whole. On a deeper metaphysical level, the mirror operates through the law of vibrational resonance. Everything in the universe, as we have begun to explore, is energy. Your being is a symphony of vibrations, composed of the notes of your dominant thoughts, beliefs, and emotional states. A core belief like, "I am not worthy," is not just a thought. It is a low-frequency vibration you are constantly emitting, like a tuning fork humming a specific mournful note. The universe, which is a neutral field of infinite potential, has no choice but to respond to this frequency. It cannot bring you experiences of worthiness and abundance if you are vibrating at the frequency of unworthiness. It would violate its own laws. So, the mirror of the world faithfully brings you people and situations that resonate with your note. It brings you a boss who overlooks you, a partner who takes you for granted, financial opportunities that mysteriously fall through at the last minute. These are not punishments. They are simply the universe saying, "Here is the reflection of the frequency you are offering. Do you like what you see? If not, you must change the note you are humming." The world is the most sophisticated and compassionate biofeedback system imaginable. Its sole purpose is to make your unconscious patterns conscious, so that you have the choice to heal them. Let us make this intensely practical. Let us walk through the gallery and look closely at some of these paintings. Consider the most common and difficult one, the mirror of a challenging relationship. I invite you to bring to mind a person in your life who consistently triggers you, someone who pushes your buttons. Cease all blame. Just for this exploration, see them now not as your tormentor, but as a master teacher, a sacred messenger hired by your own soul to show you something vital. Perhaps this person is a relentless critic. They find fault with everything you do. The immediate reaction is to defend yourself or to label them as a negative person. But now, look into the mirror. As you listen to their external voice, can you hear the faint echo of your own harsh inner critic? Is their voice not simply an externalized, amplified version of the judgments you already level against yourself every single day? They are mirroring your own lack of self-acceptance. The universe has sent you an actor to play the part of your inner critic so loudly that you can no longer ignore it. The healing has nothing to do with changing them. The healing lies in learning to silence your own inner critic, to flood your own being with the unconditional acceptance you were seeking from them. When you cease to criticize yourself, their criticism will either cease or it will no longer have the power to affect you. It will be like a wave washing against the solid rock of your own self-love. Or perhaps you attract people who are helpless, who constantly need rescuing. You find yourself in relationships where you are the giver, the fixer, the strong one. The mirror here is twofold. It might be reflecting a disowned part of your own neediness. Because you are terrified of being vulnerable or asking for help, you project that neediness outward and become a caretaker for it in others. But more deeply, it is reflecting a core belief. My worth comes from being needed. You have learned that love is transactional, that you must earn it by being useful. This belief prevents you from ever experiencing a partnership of equals. The universe will keep sending you people to rescue until you learn that your worth is inherent and does not need to be earned. The lesson is to turn that fixing energy back onto yourself, to give yourself the love and care you so freely give away, and to learn to receive. Consider the person who seems to control everything, the micromanager boss or the possessive partner. They are a mirror for your relationship with control and freedom. Perhaps they are reflecting a deep-seated fear of chaos within you. Their need for external control simply amplifies your own inner terror of uncertainty. As long as you fear the unknown, you will attract controllers who promise a false sense of security. Alternatively, they may be mirroring a place where you have given away your own sovereignty. You have allowed your boundaries to be crossed, and the universe sends a controller to show you precisely where your fences need to be rebuilt. Their push is a sacred invitation for you to push back, not with aggression, but with the quiet, firm strength of self-respect. The mirror reflects not just people, but circumstances. If you find yourself in a perpetual state of financial lack, the world is not withholding from you. It is reflecting an inner state of poverty consciousness. Look for the underlying beliefs. Did you grow up hearing that money is the root of all evil? Do you believe on some level that you are not deserving of abundance, or that to be spiritual means to be poor? These beliefs create a vibrational state of lack, and the mirror of the world must obey. It will bring you unexpected bills, missed opportunities, and just enough to get by scenarios. The path to wealth is not about chasing money in the outer world. It is an inner journey of unearthing and removing these limiting beliefs and cultivating a consciousness of abundance and worthiness from within. Most beautifully, the mirror reflects your own unseen light. That person you admire for their effortless courage, their brilliant creativity, their boundless compasión. Do not make the mistake of thinking they are different from you. Your ability to recognize that light in them is the absolute proof that the same light exists within you. It may be dormant, it may be hidden under layers of self-doubt, but it is there. Their reflection is a call from your own soul, an invitation to acknowledge and cultivate your own courage, your own creativity, your own compassion. The world shows you who you have the potential to become. To work with this profound truth requires a new kind of practice, a radical inner discipline. When you are triggered by a person or event, instead of reacting, you must learn to pause and reflect. Here is a simple but powerful practice. First, acknowledge the trigger. Feel the raw emotion in your body without a story. Say to yourself, "Anger is present. A knot of fear is in my stomach." Anchor yourself in the body. Second, consciously dissolve the blame. This is the pivotal step. Take a breath and silently affirm, "This person is a messenger. This situation is a mirror. This is appearing for my healing." You are withdrawing your energy from the external reflection and bringing it back home to yourself, the source. Third, ask the mirror questions with ruthless honesty. 1. What specific belief or fear in me is this situation reflecting? 2. What part of myself, positive or negative, am I refusing to own that this person is now acting out for me? 3. In order to experience this reflection, what must I secretly believe to be true about myself or about the world? This question uncovers the deep foundational belief. And 4. What is the ultimate gift in this reflection? What is it trying to teach me that will lead to my own liberation? Finally, end with gratitude. Send a silent wave of thanks to the person or situation that served as your mirror. They have played a difficult but sacred role, bringing a piece of your own shadow, your own unconsciousness, into the light where it can be healed. This act of gratitude transforms them from an adversary into an ally and solidifies your learning. This is the great work. This is how you move from being a victim of circumstance to being the conscious creator of your reality. You are no longer a passive spectator in the art gallery of your life, complaining about the paintings. You are the artist. You understand that by changing your inner palette, healing your beliefs, embracing your shadow, and changing your vibrational hum, the paintings on the wall of the world must, by universal law, transform before your very eyes. You take back your power, not to control the world, but to master yourself. This realization, that the world is our mirror, naturally leads to a vital question: how precisely does this reflection operate? What is the medium through which our inner state is transmitted onto the canvas of reality? The answer lies in the most fundamental law of the universe, the unspoken language that connects all things. The law of vibration. we have arrived at a crucial turning point in our journey. We have seen that the world around us is not a random collection of circumstances, but a flawless mirror reflecting our own inner state. This discovery, while empowering, naturally gives rise to a profound question. What is the invisible medium that carries the image from our consciousness onto the canvas of reality? How does a belief, a feeling, a state of being translate into the tangible events and relationships of our lives? The answer lies in the most fundamental principle of existence, an unspoken language that orchestrates the dance of atoms and galaxies alike. It is the law of vibration. We have been conditioned to perceive the world as solid, stable, and separate. We see a table, a tree, another person, and our senses tell us they are dense, concrete objects, distinct from ourselves. But modern physics has simply caught up to what ancient mystics have always known. This perceived solidity is an illusion. If you were to magnify any object, including your own body, with a powerful enough instrument, you would see that it is not solid at all. You would see molecules, then atoms, then subatomic particles. And if you could look even deeper, you would find nothing but shimmering, dancing fields of energy. The universe is not a collection of things. It is a single, unified, and indivisible field of intelligent energy, vibrating at an infinite spectrum of different frequencies. Everything you perceive, light, sound, matter, is simply energy vibrating at a particular rate. A low, slow vibration manifests as something dense, like a rock. A high, fast vibration manifests as something ethereal, like light or a thought. You, therefore, are not just a physical body navigating through a physical world. You are a vibrational being, a complex symphony of frequencies, a broadcasting tower of energy living within a vast, receptive ocean of energy. Every moment of every day, you are sending out a signal, a vibrational signature that communicates your state of being to the totality of the universe. And the universe, in its infinite intelligence and impartiality, responds not to your words, your wishes, or your efforts, but to the pure, undiluted frequency of your broadcast. Let us examine this human instrument and understand how this broadcast is generated. The process begins with thought. A thought is not an insignificant, private event that occurs only inside your skull. Every thought is a measurable pulse of electrical energy, a tiny packet of vibration. A thought of fear has a chaotic, contractive frequency. A thought of love has a coherent, expansive frequency. In a single day, you have tens of thousands of these thoughts, creating a complex and often discordant inner soundscape. But thoughts alone are like tiny sparks. They do not have significant creative power until they are amplified. The great amplifier of thought is emotion. Emotion is what takes the small electrical signal of a thought and injects it with magnetic power. A fleeting thought of, "I'm not good enough," is a weak signal. But when that thought is repeatedly felt, when it merges with the deep, visceral feeling of shame or inadequacy, it becomes a powerful, sustained broadcast. The emotion gives the thought substance. It gives it weight in the energetic world. It transforms it from a quiet whisper into a resonant shout that echoes through the quantum field. This is why you can think positive thoughts all day long. But if you feel, on a core level, unworthy or afraid, it is the feeling, the emotionalized vibration that the universe will primarily respond to. Your dominant feeling state is the true carrier wave of your creative power. Beneath your moment-to-moment thoughts and feelings lies the foundation of your vibrational signature, your core beliefs. Beliefs are simply thoughts you have thought and felt so consistently that they have become automated. They are habituated frequencies that run in the background of your consciousness, like the operating system of a computer. If you hold a deep, unconscious belief that life is a struggle, your entire being is tuned to the frequency of struggle. Even on a good day, this baseline frequency hums quietly beneath the surface, subtly coloring your perceptions and attracting experiences that validate its truth. It ensures that even in times of ease, you will find something to struggle against. because struggle is your energetic home base. These core beliefs, often inherited from childhood and society, form the default station that your vibrational radio is tuned to. Finally, your physical body is the ultimate resonator and reflector of your frequency. It is the sounding board for your inner music. A sustained state of fear and anxiety, a low, chaotic vibration, will manifest physically as chronic tension in the shoulders, a constricted gut, shallow breathing, and a flood of stress hormones like cortisol. The body becomes a physical prison that locks in and perpetuates this low frequency. Conversely, a sustained state of love and gratitude, a high, coherent vibration, manifests physically as a relaxed posture, a feeling of openness in the chest, deep, rhythmic breathing, and a cascade of beneficial neurochemicals like oxytocin and serotonin. The body becomes a sacred temple that anchors and amplifies this high frequency. Your physical health is, in many ways, a direct printout of your dominant vibrational state. To make this more tangible, let us explore this vibrational spectrum as a ladder of consciousness. At the very bottom are the densest, most contractive frequencies. Consider the vibration of shame. Feel it in your body. It is heavy, thick, and isolating. It is the energy of wanting to disappear, of feeling unworthy even to exist. It is a frequency that completely cuts you off from the flow of life and connection. Just above it is guilt, the feeling of, "I did something bad," which is slightly less paralyzing than the "I am bad" of shame. Then comes fear. Fear is a jagged, scattered, and chaotic frequency. Its energy is always projected into a future that doesn't exist, draining your life force from the present moment. Anger and blame are hot, aggressive, and outward projecting frequencies. They create a hard, defensive shell around you, a vibration of separation that declares, "It's you versus me." These low frequencies are characterized by a sense of powerlessness and contraction. As we move up the scale, we reach the pivotal frequency of courage. Courage is the energy that says, "Even though I am afraid, I will move forward." It is the first true step towards empowerment. Above courage lies neutrality and acceptance, the frequency of the observer we have already explored. This is a state of non-resistance, a calm and spacious energy that ceases to fight with reality. This is the great turning point. Once you can abide in acceptance, you open the door to the truly high frequencies. At the higher end of the spectrum, we find love. Love is not just a sentimental emotion, it is a powerful, coherent frequency of inclusivity and connection. It is the energy that sees beyond the illusion of separation. Feel it in your heart space. It is a warm, radiating, and expansive sensation. Above love is joy, a light, effortless, and bubbling frequency. Joy is the natural vibrational state of your soul when it is unburdened by resistance and living in alignment with its purpose. And near the very top of the scale lies gratitude and peace. Gratitude is arguably the most powerful creative frequency you can embody. It is the vibrational declaration that all is well, I am provided for, I am whole. It shifts your entire being from a state of lack and seeking into a state of profound reception and abundance. It is the frequency of grace, and peace is the ultimate state of being, the deep, silent hum of perfect alignment with the source of all that is. Understanding this spectrum, we can now revisit the mirror of the world through the lens of the law of attraction, or more accurately, the law of resonance. This law has often been misunderstood as a simplistic tool for material gain, a cosmic vending machine where you insert positive thoughts to get a new car. This is a profound trivialization of a sacred universal law. The law of resonance is not about getting things. It is about becoming a vibrational match for the reality you wish to experience. The universe contains an infinite number of potential realities, all existing simultaneously as vibrational possibilities in the quantum field. Your frequency acts as a tuning dial, determining which of these infinite parallel realities you are able to perceive and inhabit. You do not pull a loving relationship towards you from a distance. You raise your own frequency from one of loneliness and neediness to one of self-love and wholeness. In doing so, you shift your point of perception. You tune yourself into the frequency, the reality, where a loving relationship is the natural and inevitable reflection of your inner state. You cannot tune your radio dial to a static-filled low-frequency station and hope to hear the clear, beautiful music playing on the high-frequency station. It is a physical and metaphysical impossibility. You must change the dial. You must change your own vibration. This means the work is always an inside job. If you desire more abundance, the work is not to chase money harder, but to diligently cultivate the feeling and vibration of abundance and gratitude now, even before the evidence appears in the mirror. How would it feel to be financially secure? It would feel peaceful, free, generous. The practice, then, is to find ways to generate those feelings, peace, freedom, generosity in your life right now. By becoming a vibrational match for the feeling, you begin to inhabit the reality where the outer form of that feeling must manifest. You tune into the channel of abundance, and the universe faithfully delivers the broadcast. So how do we become a conscious broadcaster? How do we deliberately change our station? The first step is awareness. Several times a day, pause and perform a vibrational check-in. Ask yourself, what is the music I am playing right now? What is the quality of the energy in my body? Don't judge it. Just notice. Is it heavy or light, contracted or expanded, chaotic or calm? This simple act of noticing begins to disidentify you from the state and gives you the power to choose. The second and most powerful tool is the conscious cultivation of gratitude. Gratitude is the master frequency, the great harmonizer. If you are in a state of fear or anger, stop, take a breath, and find just 3 things in your immediate experience for which you can feel genuine appreciation. It could be the chair supporting you, the taste of your coffee, the fact that you are breathing. As you focus on these things, don't just think the thought, feel the feeling of gratitude in your heart. Feel the warmth, the softening, the expansion. In an instant, you have changed the dial. You have shifted your broadcast from lack to sufficiency, from fear to peace. Practiced consistently, this becomes a profound recalibration of your entire being. Finally, you can practice by assuming the feeling of your wish fulfilled. This is not about delusion. It is about vibrational rehearsal. Take a few minutes each day to close your eyes and feel, with every cell in your body, what it would be like if your deepest, most heartfelt desire were already your reality. Feel the relief, the joy, the peace, the freedom. Marinate your being in that frequency. This practice calibrates your human instrument to this new, higher note. You are teaching your body, your cells, and your subconscious mind what this new reality feels like, making you a more and more perfect antenna for it. You are a divine instrument in the symphony of creation. You are not a victim of the music of the world. You are its composer. The universe is not judging your composition. It is simply playing it back to you with perfect fidelity. As you learn to consciously manage your own vibration, to choose the notes of love, joy, and gratitude, you may encounter a deep, persistent, static, a nagging feeling that you are not good enough to broadcast on these higher frequencies. This is the pervasive lie of unworthiness, a core piece of interference that we must now face directly and dissolve for good. We have spoken of vibration, of tuning your instrument to the higher frequencies of joy, love, and peace. But as you begin this practice, you will almost certainly encounter a deep and persistent static, a fundamental distortion in your broadcast signal. It is a nagging, pervasive hum of inadequacy that underlies so much of human striving. It is the quiet, insidious whisper that says, "You are not good enough for this. You do not deserve it. You must do more, be more, achieve more, before you are worthy of true peace and happiness." This is the core lie of unworthiness. the most damaging piece of programming in the collective human psyche, and we must now face it directly, with unflinching clarity, and dissolve it for good. Let us be absolutely clear, so that this truth may land in the deepest part of your being, bypassing the filters of the mind. You are not here on this earth to earn your worth. You are not on a spiritual trial period where you must prove yourself to some cosmic authority. Your worthiness is not a prize to be won at the end of a long and arduous struggle. It is your origin. It is your nature. It is the absolute, unconditional premise of your existence. The universe did not make a mistake when it created you. You are a unique and perfect expression of divine intelligence, as essential to the cosmos as a star, a planet, or a blade of grass. The very idea that you must earn your worth is a fallacy, a phantom conjured by the ego to keep you in a perpetual state of seeking, striving, and suffering. Where did this profound misunderstanding come from? It is not your fault. You were born into a world that is deeply hypnotized by this lie. As a small child, your need for love and acceptance was absolute, a matter of survival. And you quickly learned that this love and approval often seemed conditional. You were praised for being a good child, for getting good grades, for cleaning your room. You were reprimanded for being too loud, too messy, too emotional. Without any malicious intent from your caregivers, who were themselves products of the same conditioning, you learned a devastating equation. My performance equals my value. My behavior equals my lovability. And so, the striving began. You started crafting a personality, a performance, designed to win the approval you so desperately needed, and you began to hide away the parts of you that were deemed unacceptable. This initial conditioning was then relentlessly reinforced by the world at large. Society teaches us to measure our worth through an endless series of external metrics: your job title, the size of your bank account, your physical appearance, the number of followers you have. We are placed on a merciless treadmill of comparison and competition, always looking outside of ourselves to validate our existence. The ego mind, which can only understand the world through the lens of transaction, loves this game. It operates on a linear, effort-based logic. If I sacrifice my joy now, I will be rewarded with happiness later. If I suffer through this difficult job, I will finally be worthy of respect. If I can just fix myself enough, I will finally be worthy of love. This transactional mindset cannot comprehend the concept of grace. It cannot fathom a universe where the greatest gifts, love, peace, life itself, are given freely, without cause, simply because you exist. Consider a flower in a field, a simple, wild rose. Does it spend its days worrying if it is good enough to receive the sunlight? Does it perform laborious tasks to earn the nourishment of the rain? Does it compare its petals to the lily next to it and feel inadequate? Of course not. Such a notion is absurd. The flower's job is not to earn the sun. Its job is to be a flower. In its simple, unapologetic being, it naturally opens itself to the light, receives the water, and expresses its unique form of beauty. Its worthiness is not based on its performance. It is inherent in its existence. You are that flower, but you have been taught to act like a frantic gardener, constantly toiling, weeding, and measuring, trying to prove to the sun that your flower is worthy of its light. This striving, this endless effort to prove your worth, is the very act of closing your petals. It is a vibrational declaration to the universe that says, I am not yet worthy. Do not bless me yet. I am still trying to earn it. And the universe, which is a flawless mirror, can only honor your declaration. It reflects your feeling of unworthiness back to you by withholding the very things you seek. Living inside this lie has a devastating spiritual cost. Firstly, it blocks your ability to receive. When you believe that all good things must be earned through struggle, you become suspicious of anything that comes easily. If someone offers you a heartfelt compliment, you deflect it. If a wonderful opportunity appears as if by magic, you question it, looking for the catch. If someone loves you unconditionally, you doubt their motives, because it does not fit your inner narrative that love must be bought and paid for with sacrifice. You unconsciously push away grace because you have not suffered enough to deserve it. Secondly, this belief perpetuates and even glorifies suffering. It creates a subtle martyr complex, a twisted spiritual logic that equates pain with virtue. You wear your exhaustion like a badge of honor. You believe that your struggle makes you noble. This is a profound spiritual dead end. It keeps you locked in the low-frequency vibrations of effort, strain, and seriousness. It cuts you off from the high frequencies of joy, play, and ease, which are the true expressions of a soul that knows its own worth. Finally, the need to earn worthiness forces you to live an inauthentic life. The self you present to the world is not your true self. It is a carefully constructed persona, a mask designed to be acceptable, to be approved of, to be worthy. Your authentic self, with all its beautiful quirks, its vulnerabilities, and its unique desires, is kept hidden, deemed too flawed for the public stage. This creates a deep and painful sense of alienation, a feeling that even if people love the mask, they would surely reject the real you. It is the loneliest feeling in the world. The path to liberation from this lie is not through more striving. You cannot achieve a state of worthiness. You can only stop, turn around, and recognize that you have been standing on it all along. The practice is not one of doing, but of undoing. It is an act of surrender. It is the simple yet revolutionary act of accepting a divine truth. I invite you now to participate in this recognition. If you feel comfortable, place a hand over the center of your chest, over your heart space. Take a slow, deep breath, anchoring yourself in the body. And now, silently to yourself, or whispered aloud, make this simple and profound declaration: I am. Let those two words land. Feel their simple truth. There are no conditions attached. Not I am if I am successful, not I am when I am perfect. Just I am. And now, add the final piece. I am. And that is enough. Feel the release in that statement, the dropping of a burden you have carried for a lifetime. This is not an affirmation of the ego. It is not an arrogant claim. It is an act of profound humility, an alignment with the fact of your own sacred existence. Your worthiness is the ground you stand on, the air you breathe, the silent presence within you that has witnessed every moment of your life. It is not your destination, it is your starting point. To fully embody this truth, to stand firmly on this solid ground of inherent worth in every moment, we must now gather our courage and turn to face the ghosts that tell us otherwise. We must be willing to travel back into the inner landscape of our own history to find the parts of us that first learned the painful lie of unworthiness. It is time to visit the river of the past, not to drown in it, but to gently dismantle the dams that have blocked the powerful, healing flow of our own self-love. We stand now on the solid ground of our own inherent worth, a truth that resonates in the core of our being. Yet, as we stand here, we may feel the pull of old currents, the ghosts of a past that taught us we were anything but worthy. To fully inhabit this newfound freedom, we cannot simply ignore these ghosts. We must turn with courage and compassion to meet them. Let us now travel together to the river of the past, not to be swept away by its currents, but to become its gentle healer. First, we must understand what this river truly is. The past, as a distinct time and place you can revisit, does not exist. It is gone. It survives only in two forms, in the only moment that ever exists, the present. It exists as memory, which is a collection of thoughts and images in the mind. And more potently, it exists as trapped emotion, as undigested experience stored as energetic charge in your physical and energetic body. A painful past is not a story that is over. It is a pocket of frozen life force that is diminishing your vitality right now. Healing the past, therefore, is not an act of time travel. It is the sacred work of finding these frozen pockets of energy in your present being and thawing them with the warmth of your conscious awareness. Imagine your life force, your spirit, your prana, as a great and powerful river. In its natural state, this river flows with vigor and clarity. It is creative, joyful, adaptable, and fully present, nourishing the entire landscape of your life. But along the course of your life, certain events occurred. Perhaps it was a moment of sharp criticism, a painful rejection, a heartbreaking loss, or a time you felt deeply ashamed. In these moments of intense, unprocessed emotional pain, a part of your life force becomes frozen in time. A dam is constructed in your river. This dam is built from the raw materials of suppressed emotion, the unshed tears of grief, the unexpressed fire of anger, the paralyzing chill of fear. The event itself is over, but the emotional dam remains. The consequences of these dams are profound. Behind the dam, the river of your past becomes a stagnant, murky pool. This is the realm of resentment, grudges, and recurring painful memories. The energy there is toxic, endlessly recycling the old pain. Meanwhile, downstream from the dam, your present life is starved of its full vitality. The river becomes a mere trickle. This manifests as a lack of creativity, chronic fatigue, depression, anxiety, a feeling of being stuck, or an inability to feel deep joy and connection. You are living your life with only a fraction of your divine energy, because so much of it is trapped behind these dams, holding the pain of the past in place. Human beings typically employ two flawed strategies for dealing with these dams. The first, and most common, is to ignore them. We use endless distractions, busyness, entertainment, addictions to avoid looking at the stagnant water. We pretend the dam isn't there, hoping it will go away on its own. But it never does. The persistent lack of flow in our downstream life, the quiet desperation and lack of vitality, is the constant, undeniable evidence of the dam's existence. The second flawed strategy is to fight the dam. We become obsessed with the past injustice. We talk about it endlessly. We relive the story over and over. We seethe in our resentment. We are constantly throwing rocks at the face of the dam. But this does not break it. It only stirs up the murky water, making it even more toxic. It reinforces the structure of our pain, giving it more of our precious energy and strengthening the very dam we wish to destroy. There is a third way. It is not the way of ignoring or the way of fighting. It is the way of loving presence. You cannot break the dam with force. You must dissolve it with compassion. The dam is made of frozen, unloved emotion. The only antidote, the only solvent powerful enough to dissolve it, is the warmth of your own loving awareness. This is the practice we will now undertake together. It is a journey to meet the wounded parts of yourself and bring them home. Find a quiet space where you can be undisturbed. Anchor yourself in the present by feeling your body, as we have practiced. Feel the support of the chair or floor beneath you. Feel the gentle rhythm of your breath. Know that you are safe, here and now, in this adult body, in this present moment. You are the lighthouse, steady and strong. From this safe and grounded space, I invite you to ask your inner wisdom to bring forward a memory, not necessarily your life's greatest trauma, but a memory where you felt the sting of unworthiness. A time you felt small, rejected, ashamed, or misunderstood. Allow the memory to surface gently. Do not force it. Just set the intention and see what arises. As the scene comes into focus, I want you to look for the younger version of yourself within it. See that child, that teenager, that young adult. See them through the eyes of the compassionate observer you are now. Look at their posture. See the expression on their face. Feel, in your own body now, a faint echo of the pain they were feeling in that moment. For this is the pocket of frozen energy we have come to liberate. Your first task is simply to witness. Do not judge this younger you. Do not tell them they should have been stronger or smarter. Your judgment will only reinforce the dam. Simply see them in their pain, in their confusion. Let your presence be a silent testament saying, I see you, I am here with you now. You are not alone in this moment anymore. Now, from your heart center, in your present-day body, I want you to consciously generate a feeling of warmth, of love, of deep compassion. Imagine it as a beautiful, soft, golden light. And from your heart, send that beam of golden light across time and space directly into the heart of that younger you in the memory. Envelop them in this unconditional, loving presence. As you hold them in this light, silently speak the words that this vulnerable part of you so desperately needed to hear in that moment, but likely never did. Speak them slowly, with deep sincerity. Words like, I see you, I am with you, you did nothing wrong, it was not your fault. None, you are so much more than what happened to you. You are worthy of love and respect, exactly as you are. You are safe now. Choose the words that feel most true and most needed. And as you speak them, visualize that younger you beginning to soften. See them looking up, receiving the love they have been starved of for so long. See the frozen energy of their pain beginning to melt under the warmth of your presence. Finally, in your mind's eye, see your wise, compassionate, present-day self stepping into that memory. Walk over to that younger you, kneel down, and gently take them into your arms. Give them the embrace of total acceptance. Feel them merge into your heart space, bringing that fragmented, exiled part of your soul back home into the wholeness of your being. Breathe deeply, feeling this integration. You are not rescuing them. You are reclaiming them. This is the true work of healing. It is a gentle, repeated process of bringing the light of your present-day consciousness to the dark, frozen places within you. Each time you do this, a piece of a dam dissolves. A little more of your life force is liberated. The river of your being begins to flow more freely. This practice also reveals the true meaning of forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about condoning another's hurtful actions. It is the profoundly selfish act of deciding that you will no longer carry the poison of resentment in your own heart. It is the act of cutting the energetic cord that binds you to the pain of the past, freeing yourself to live in the now. Forgiveness is the loving dynamite that finally demolishes the dam, allowing your river to rush forth with all its power and beauty. As you continue this sacred work, releasing the trapped energy of the past, a new, clear, and spacious quality will emerge within you. The river begins to flow with renewed vigor. This reclaimed energy is your birthright. It is now available to you in this present moment for conscious creation. But energy without focus is merely chaos. We must now learn how to gather this liberated life force, this flowing river, and give it a clear and powerful direction. We must learn the art of aligned intention. The river of your life force, cleansed and revitalized, is now flowing with a newfound power. The dams of past pain are dissolving, and the energy that was once frozen in trauma and resentment is now liberated, available to you in this precious present moment. This reclaimed energy is the very substance of creation. It is pure potential. But potential without direction is simply chaos, a river flooding its banks without purpose. To become a conscious creator, you must now learn to be the rudder for this powerful current. You must learn the art of aligned intention. It is vital that we begin by making a crucial distinction, for the word intention has been widely misunderstood. We must distinguish true, aligned intention from its common counterfeit, egoic wanting. Wanting is the voice of the ego, the chattering mind. It is born from a foundational belief in lack. Wanting says, I am not whole, I am not happy, my life is incomplete, and I need that thing out there, that job, that relationship, that amount of money to fix me and make me whole. The energy of wanting is needy, grasping, and anxious. It is attached not only to the outcome, but to the specific form and timing of the outcome. It is a low-frequency broadcast of, I don't have it. And as we have learned, the universe can only mirror back to us the frequency we emit. Therefore, wanting, by its very nature, tends to perpetuate the state of not having. Aligned intention is something else entirely. It does not arise from the noisy marketplace of the mind, but from the deep, quiet sanctuary of your soul, from the still presence of the observer. It is not born from lack, it is born from wholeness. Intention says, I am already a whole and complete expression of the universe. From this place of wholeness, I choose to have this experience. I choose to express this aspect of my being. The energy of intention is calm, clear, committed, and peacefully detached. It is focused not on a specific object as a means to an end, but on the essence of the experience itself. It is the high-frequency broadcast of sovereign choice and implicit trust. Wanting is a beggar pleading with the universe. Intention is a co-creator collaborating with it. Let us explore this difference more deeply. Wanting is obsessed with the form. I want that specific red sports car. The mind has fixated on an external symbol. A true intention looks deeper, to the essence. It asks, what is the feeling or state of being that I believe the red sports car will give me? The answer might be a feeling of freedom, of joy, of vibrant energy, of success. An aligned intention, therefore, would not be, I must have that car. It would be, I intend to fully embody and experience the essence of joyful freedom and vibrant success in my life. By focusing on the essence, you leave the universe infinite and creative ways to deliver that experience to you. It may come in the form of the red car, but it could also come in 100 other, more magical ways. You could never have predicted a new career that gives you freedom, a journey that fills you with joy, a creative project that makes you feel successful. To intend the form is to limit the universe. To intend the essence is to liberate it on your behalf. Imagine a master archer preparing to shoot. This is the perfect metaphor for aligned intention. A novice archer, operating from a place of wanting, is tense. He grips the bow so tightly his knuckles are white. His mind is racing with calculations, with the desperate need to hit the bullseye, with the fear of failure. He is acutely aware of the separation between himself, the arrow, and the distant target. His entire being is a bundle of forceful, anxious effort. Now, watch the master archer. He approaches the line with a calm reverence. His body is relaxed but alive. He does not see the target as a separate enemy to be conquered. In his awareness, he, the bow, the arrow, the air, and the target become a single, unified field. The drawing of the string is not a feat of strength, but a graceful alignment, synchronized perfectly with his slow, deep breath. His focus is total, yet completely effortless. The release of the arrow is not a sharp-willed decision. It is a natural letting go, a surrender at the peak of his intention. He does not shoot the arrow, he allows it to be flown. He has become one with the entire process. This is the feeling of an aligned intention. It is not a gritty mental effort to force an outcome. It is a calm, centered, and total alignment of your being with a chosen reality, followed by a graceful release of trust. So how do we practice this elegant art? How do we become the master archer of our own lives? There are 4 distinct steps. The first step is stillness. You can never set a truly powerful intention from a state of mental noise or emotional turmoil. You must first come home to the quiet center, to the presence of the observer. Anchor yourself in your body. Feel your breath. Let the frantic voice of wanting recede, and listen for the quiet, clear voice of your deeper self. All true creation begins in silence. The second step is clarity of essence. In this quiet space, ask your heart, not your head, a simple question. What experience does my soul wish to have now? Allow the answer to arise as a feeling. As we discussed, look past the specific forms. If the mind screams, I want more money, gently ask, why? What is the essential experience money represents for me? Perhaps the answer is security. Perhaps it is freedom. Perhaps it is the ability to be generous. Security, freedom, and generosity are the true intentions. They are the essence. Get crystal clear on this feeling state. The third step is the declaration. Once you are clear on the essence, you formulate it into a powerful statement of intent. The most potent intentions are framed in the present tense, as if they are already a reality, because in the timeless realm of energy, they are. You are not wishing for a future state. You are aligning with a present possibility. Avoid weak language like, "I hope for," or "I would like." Use strong, clear language. For example, instead of, "I want to be in a loving relationship," the declaration might be, "I am a vibrational match for a deep, authentic, and joyful partnership." Instead of, "I want to be wealthy," it could be, "I am a joyful conduit for infinite abundance, which flows to me and through me with ease and grace." As you state your intention, either silently or aloud, feel its truth resonate in every cell of your body. Feel the feeling of it already being your reality. The fourth and final step is the release. This is the master archer letting the arrow fly. Once you have found stillness, clarified the essence, and made your declaration, your work is done. You must now hand it over to the universe, to the higher intelligence that knows the infinite details and perfect timing of all things. This means you must consciously let go of your attachment to the outcome. You must release your need to control the how, the when, and the in what form. Obsessing over how your intention will manifest is like the archer running after the arrow, trying to steer it with his hands. It is an act of distrust, and it disrupts the entire process. Your job is to set the vibrational trajectory and to hold that frequency. The universe's job is to orchestrate the flight. Living from a place of aligned intention transforms your entire experience of life. You cease to be a passive victim of circumstance or a frantic beggar pleading for scraps. You become a dignified and empowered co-creator, a conscious artist painting on the canvas of reality. You are no longer trying to force the river. You are calmly and deliberately steering its powerful flow. Setting the intention is the sacred act of aiming the arrow with clarity and purpose. But once that arrow has been released from the bow of your being, the most difficult and profound part of the practice begins. The master archer does not fret. He does not run after the arrow to check its progress. He stands in quiet confidence, trusting its trajectory, trusting the wind, trusting the immutable laws of his art. This is the sacred dance of surrender, the paradoxical art of achieving through letting go. We have arrived at the most subtle, the most paradoxical, and perhaps the most powerful principle in the art of conscious creation. We have learned to shape our reality by clarifying our intention, by aiming the arrow of our desire with focus and coherence. But now comes the part of the practice that requires the greatest faith, the deepest wisdom, and the most profound courage. Once the arrow is released from the bow, the master archer lets it go. He does not run after it, shouting instructions. He trusts the laws of physics, the flow of the air, and the perfection of his initial aim. This is the sacred dance of surrender. In a world that glorifies effort, control, and relentless striving, the word surrender is deeply misunderstood. The ego hears surrender and equates it with weakness, passivity, defeat, or giving up. It conjures images of a white flag being waved in battle. This is the ego's frightened interpretation, because the ego's entire identity is built upon the illusion that it is in control. But true spiritual surrender is not an act of weakness. It is an act of supreme strength. It is the conscious, intelligent, and courageous decision to relinquish the frantic, inefficient control of the limited mind, and to align yourself with the infinitely intelligent, powerful, and benevolent flow of life itself. It is a profound declaration of trust in a higher order. It is the moment you stop trying to swim upstream against the powerful current of the river and instead turn around, relax, and allow the river to carry you with effortless grace toward your destination. Why is this simple act so difficult for us? It is because the ego is terrified of it. To the ego, letting go feels like death. Its entire existence is a carefully constructed fortress built on the belief that I am in charge. I must figure everything out. I must manage every detail, anticipate every problem, and force reality to conform to my will. Surrender requires dismantling this fortress, and the ego will fight for its survival with every tool it has. Its primary weapon is fear. It will stir up the fear of the unknown. The ego can only operate based on past data and future projections. It finds comfort in the known, even if the known is miserable. It wants a predictable, step-by-step plan from A to Z. Surrender asks you to take your hands off the wheel and trust the journey, even when you cannot see the road ahead. It invites you to step out of the tiny, well-lit room of your own limited thinking and into the vast, starlit field of infinite possibility. This boundlessness is exhilarating to the soul but terrifying to the ego. The ego will also use your past pain as evidence against surrender. It will whisper, "Remember what happened last time you trusted? Last time you let your guard down? You were hurt. You were disappointed. You failed. You must never let that happen again. You must control everything to protect yourself." It fails to understand the deeper truth. The past pain did not come from a state of true surrender and trust. It came from a place of misaligned intention, of unconscious manifestation, of resisting what was. True surrender is not a blind, naive passivity. It is a wise alignment that actually prevents such pain from recurring. But the ego's most persistent tactic is its obsession with the how. Once you set a clear intention for a new career, a healing, a loving relationship, the ego immediately jumps in and demands to know the logistics. How will it happen? When will it happen? What are the steps? Who do I need to talk to? It believes that if it cannot map out the entire causal chain, it cannot happen. This frantic need to know the how is the very energy that blocks the miracle. It is an energy of distrust. It is like telling the universe, "I have a request, but I don't trust your intelligence, your creativity, or your timing, so I must supervise every step of the process." To truly understand surrender, let us use the metaphor of a wise farmer planting a seed. This metaphor will be our guide. The farmer's journey begins with a clear intention. He chooses the seed he wishes to plant. He does not throw a random handful of seeds and hope for the best. He decides, "I will grow a strong and mighty oak tree." This is the clarity of your aligned intention. This part of the process is active and conscious. Next, the farmer diligently prepares the soil. He removes the rocks of old resentments, pulls out the weeds of limiting beliefs, and enriches the soil with the compost of self-love and high vibrational energy. This is the essential inner work we have already discussed. You cannot plant a seed of abundance in the barren, rocky soil of a poverty consciousness. This preparation is also your active and conscious responsibility. Then comes the moment of planting. The farmer places the seed in the prepared earth with care and focus. This is the initial, inspired action you take towards your goal. It is making the first phone call, writing the first page of the book, sending the single application, speaking your truth in a relationship. It is the grounded, real-world step that signals your commitment to the universe. And now, the farmer's active role changes dramatically. His work is done. He surrenders. He does not dig up the seed every morning to check if it has sprouted. He knows this would kill it. He trusts in a process that is now invisible to him, a mysterious intelligence within the seed and the soil that he does not control. This is the great mystery of germination, the moment the universe receives your intention and begins its hidden work. The anxious need to see results immediately is the spiritual equivalent of digging up the seed. It aborts the process with the energy of doubt. Furthermore, the wise farmer does not try to control the how and when of the seed's growth. He does not command the sun to shine, nor does he shout at the clouds to produce rain. He trusts in the greater wisdom of the seasons, the sun and the sky. He knows that these essential elements for growth are beyond his control. He relinquishes them. This is what it means to surrender the logistics of your manifestation to the universe. You do not know the perfect person who will offer you the job. You do not know the exact synchronicity that will lead you to your partner. Your job is not to know. Your job is to trust that the sun and the rain for your specific intention are being orchestrated. But notice, the farmer's surrender is not a state of lazy inaction. While he waits for the seed to grow, he continues to tend the field. He waters the ground when it is dry. He protects the emerging seedling from pests. He continues to show up and nurture the conditions for growth. This is our work in the period of gestation, between setting an intention and its manifestation. Our work is to keep our own vibrational soil rich and fertile. We continue to practice gratitude. We meditate to stay centered. We take care of our bodies. And we remain in a state of alert readiness, listening for intuitive nudges. This is active surrender. When you are in this state of active surrender, the universe will begin to communicate with you through inspired action. Unlike the forced, heavy, effortful action of the ego, inspired action feels light, easy, and obvious. It's a sudden urge to call an old friend you haven't spoken to in years, who just happens to know someone with the perfect opportunity for you. It's a spontaneous decision to visit a bookstore where you find a book that contains the exact answer to a problem you've been facing. It's a synchronicity that feels like a wink from the universe. Surrender is not about doing nothing. It is about ceasing all uninspired action and learning to act only when guided by that light, easy, and joyful impulse. That is the universe handing you the water bucket. Your only job is to pour. How can you practice this in your daily life? Begin by noticing the feeling of needing to control. It is a tangible sensation, a tension in the jaw and shoulders, a frantic energy in the mind, a tightness in the gut. When you feel it arise, do not judge it. Simply acknowledge it. There is the part of me that is afraid. There is the need to control. Then, take a breath and consciously choose to relax the physical tension. As you exhale, imagine you are releasing your white-knuckled grip on the situation. Use a mantra of release. When you find yourself obsessing over the how, gently interrupt the thought pattern with a simple phrase, "I have done my part. The rest is in greater hands. I trust the process." Another powerful addition is the phrase, "this," or something better, "for the highest good of all." This is a master key. It releases your attachment to the specific form you envisioned and tells the universe, "I am open to an outcome even more magnificent than the one my limited mind can imagine." Whenever you feel anxiety about the outcome, gently guide your focus back to the feeling of your intention fulfilled. Your job is not to manage the external world. Your job is to manage your internal frequency. If your intention is freedom, practice feeling free now. Feel the expansion in your chest. The universe will handle the manifestation of the form. You just have to hold the feeling. When you learn to live in this state of surrendered trust, something magical happens. By relinquishing your ego's tiny, frantic plans, you open yourself up to the grand, elegant, and miraculous plans of the cosmos. The universe's creativity is infinitely greater than your own. It can see pathways and possibilities that are completely invisible to you. Surrender allows the most beautiful and efficient of these pathways to unfold. Furthermore, you step out of suffering. The root of all mental suffering is the resistance to what is. Surrender is a profound, soul-deep yes to life as it unfolds. And this yes is the source of unshakable peace. The ultimate paradox is this: by giving up the ego's illusion of control, you step into true, authentic power. You are no longer a small, separate self fighting a battle against the river of life. You merge with the river itself. You become its power, its intelligence, its grace, its unstoppable flow. This profound state of alignment, this sacred dance of intention and surrender, leads to an even deeper realization. You begin to feel that you are not just a separate being trusting the universe. You begin to sense that you are, in fact, a channel through which the universe itself acts, speaks, and experiences. The creative force that orchestrates the unfolding of your surrendered intentions is not, after all, separate from you. In fact, the universe breathes through you. As we rest in the quiet harbor of surrender, a new and final frontier of understanding begins to open. We have learned to dance with the universe, to set our intention as the invitation, and to surrender as the graceful acceptance of the divine choreography. This dance leads to the most intimate realization possible. We begin to see that we are not, in fact, two separate partners. The dancer and the dance are one. You are not a separate entity trusting an external universe. You are a focal point of that universe, a unique and precious aperture through which the cosmos itself experiences life. The creative intelligence that painted the nebulae and ignited the stars is not a distant force to be prayed to. It is the very intelligence that is beating your heart, digesting your food, and, most intimately, breathing through your lungs right now. This is the heart of the great mystery. The most profound spiritual truth is not hidden in an ancient text or on a remote mountaintop. It is present in the most simple, constant, and overlooked act of your existence, the act of breathing. We take it for granted. We see it as a purely biological mechanism, a function of the body to draw in oxygen and expel carbon dioxide. But it is so much more. The breath is the physical evidence of your unbroken connection to the universal life force. The ancients knew this. In Sanskrit, this energy is called prana. In Chinese medicine, it is qi. In Latin, the word for breath, spiritus, is the root of our word spirit. They understood that the air we breathe is not empty. It is filled with the very substance of life itself. I invite you now to reframe your entire relationship with your breath. Let us explore it not as something you do, but as something that is being done through you. With your next inhalation, instead of thinking of it as, I am taking a breath, I want you to feel it as, the universe is breathing into me. Feel the air entering your body not just as oxygen, but as a direct infusion of cosmic life force, of pure potential, of infinite intelligence. The universe, in a gesture of absolute grace, is nourishing you, sustaining you, pouring its own vitality into the vessel of your form. Every single inhale is an act of profound and total receiving. You are being breathed by life itself. And now, consider the exhale. Instead of I am breathing out, feel it as I am breathing back into the universe. With every exhalation, you are releasing your unique essence, your gratitude, your experience of the last moment, back into the great whole. You are giving back your presence as a gift. It is an act of surrender, of letting go, of contributing your unique note to the cosmic symphony. See this now. The inhale is the universe giving to you, and the exhale is you giving back to the universe. It is a perfect, seamless, and eternal loop of giving and receiving. There is no separation. Your personal breath is a wavelet on the surface of a single, universal ocean of breath. To deepen this understanding, let us use a new metaphor. Imagine that you are a finely crafted flute. The universe is the musician, and the breath of the universe is the wind that flows through the flute to create music. The music that is produced is your life, your unique expression in the world. For most of our lives, we are not empty flutes. We are clogged with the debris of the ego. The flute is stuffed with the hardened residue of past resentments. It is blocked by the dense knots of limiting beliefs. It is narrowed by the constant tension of fear and the need to control. When the universe, the great musician, tries to breathe through such a flute, what is the result? The sound is strained, dissonant, and weak. Only a tiny trickle of air can pass through. The music is a struggle. This is a life lived in resistance, a life that feels heavy, effortful, and cut off from the source of its own power. We blame the musician for the terrible music, not realizing the blockages are within ourselves. The entire spiritual journey we have been on, together observing the mind, healing the past, surrendering control, has been a process of gently cleaning out this flute. Each limiting belief you release, each old emotion you allow to dissolve, each moment you choose trust over fear, you are removing a piece of debris. You are clearing the channel. Your life's work is not to learn how to play the music better. You are not the musician. Your work is to become an empty, hollow, and resonant vessel. Your only responsibility is to be a clean channel. When the flute is empty, when the channel is clear and open, the breath of the universe can flow through it without impediment, and the music that emerges is exquisite. It is effortless, harmonious, powerful, and utterly unique to the specific shape and quality of that particular flute. This is a life of grace and flow. You are no longer trying to live your life. You are being lived by life. You are no longer trying to find your purpose. Your purpose is effortlessly expressed through you as the unique music that only you can make. The burden of performance dissolves. You realize your greatest gift to the world is not what you do, but the quality of your own emptiness, your own receptivity to the divine breath. Let us experience this directly. Sit quietly for a moment. Close your eyes and bring your awareness, once again, to your breath. But this time, we will imbue it with this new understanding. As you inhale, silently repeat the phrase, "The universe breathes in." Feel the truth of it. Feel the nourishment, the expansion, the life force flowing into you from all directions. Feel it filling not just your lungs, but every cell of your body with vibrant, intelligent energy. Now, as you exhale, silently repeat, "The universe breathes out." Feel the release, the surrender, the complete letting go of all that is no longer needed. Feel your personal boundaries soften and dissolve into the surrounding field of energy. You are a wave cresting and then receding back into the ocean of being. Continue this for a few moments. Inhale, the universe breathes in. Exhale, the universe breathes out. Let go of the sense of a separate I that is performing this action. There is no you doing the breathing. There is only the breath breathing itself. The breath is the musician, and you are the instrument. Allow yourself to be played. Feel the subtle boundary between your inner and outer world begin to blur. The air outside you becomes the life inside you. The life inside you becomes the air outside you. It is one continuous, sacred process. There is no separation. To live from this realization is to change everything. Your life is no longer a personal project to be managed by a fearful ego. It becomes a divine collaboration. You are no longer a noun, a fixed and separate entity. You become a verb, a process, a happening. You are the universe in the act of experiencing itself as you. The divine intelligence is not a distant God you appeal to. It is the silent presence looking out through your eyes at this very moment. The divine love is not something you seek. It is the feeling that beats within your own heart. You are not a creation of the universe. You are the universe in the process of creation. When you truly begin to live from this state of unity, when you deeply and experientially feel yourself as the flute through which the cosmos plays its beautiful and unique music, a natural and inevitable consequence occurs. The sense of a small, separate, fearful self, the entity we have called the ego, begins to lose its grip. Its story of separation, its narrative of struggle and fear, no longer makes any sense against the vast, felt truth of your own universality. Its very foundation begins to tremble and dissolve. We arrive now at the very heart of the human dilemma, the root of all conflict and the source of all suffering. As you have learned to rest in the universal breath, feeling yourself as a seamless expression of the cosmos, you have inevitably felt the foundation of the old self begin to tremble. This old self, this sense of a small, separate, and vulnerable me trapped inside a body, has a name. We call it the ego. And the path to lasting peace requires that we understand it, not as an enemy to be vanquished, but as a ghost to be seen through, a costume to be gently removed. Let us be very clear from the outset. The ego is not you. It is a psychological and energetic construct, a temporary survival mechanism created by the mind in your early childhood. When you were a small, vulnerable organism, you needed a way to navigate a complex and often overwhelming world. The mind created a central command center, an identity, cobbled together from your name, your body, your memories, and the reactions of others to you. Its primary function was to keep you safe, to distinguish me from not me, to seek pleasure and to avoid pain. It did its job admirably. It helped you survive. The problem is not that the ego exists. The problem is that you have mistaken this survival tool for your true identity. You believe that you are this bundle of memories, fears, and defenses. This is the fundamental error, the great hypnotic trance under which all of humanity labors. Imagine you have been wearing a heavy, ornate, and restrictive suit of armor since the day you were born. You have never taken it off. Over the years, you have forgotten that there is a living, breathing, and free body underneath. You believe that you are the armor. You identify with its weight, its rigidity, its clanking sound. Awakening is not the process of violently smashing the armor with a hammer. It is the slow, dawning realization that you are not the armor at all. It is the process of becoming so aware of its cold, heavy nature that you can finally begin to find the buckles and straps, to loosen its grip, and to let it fall away, so you can at last feel the warmth of the sun on your own skin. The ego is this suit of armor. To loosen its grip, we must first understand its anatomy. What are its building blocks? The primary material is memory. The ego is a story, a narrative constructed from the highlights and grievances of your past. It is a continuous movie called The Story of Me. In this story, you are the main character, and the ego is deeply invested in the plot. It cherishes its wounds, because grievances give it a strong sense of identity. I am the one who was wronged. It polishes its achievements, because accomplishments give it a sense of superiority. I am the one who succeeded. It is a fictional character, constantly editing its own script to reinforce its existence. Your true self, the timeless observer, has no story. It simply is, in the eternal now. The ego also builds itself through identification with form. Because the ego is not real, it must cling to things that appear real to feel alive. It identifies with your body, leading to vanity and the fear of aging and death. It identifies with your possessions, which is why you feel a personal sense of violation when your car is dented. It identifies with your roles mother, father, doctor, artisan, falls into crisis when those roles change. It identifies with your beliefs, your nationality, your religion, leading to the righteous us versus them mentality that has caused so much conflict. Most subtly, it even identifies with your suffering. The ego can create a very strong identity out of being depressed, anxious, or a victim. It would often rather cling to the familiar identity of its suffering than take the risk of letting it go and not knowing who it would be without it. From this structure arise the ego's prime directives, its core programming. Its first law is to maintain a sense of separation. The ego cannot exist without a boundary. It needs an other to define itself against. This is why it is obsessed with comparison. Am I richer, smarter, more spiritual, or more wounded than you? This constant comparison is the root of jealousy, envy, pride, and insecurity. Its second directive is to be right. The ego thrives on conflict, argument, and drama, because these are all opportunities to reinforce its position and prove its validity. Notice how, in an argument, a part of you doesn't actually want peace. It wants victory. It would rather be right than be happy. That is the ego, fighting for its life. Its third directive is the craving for more. The ego lives in a perpetual state of insufficiency. It is the voice that says, when I get that promotion, then I'll be happy. But as soon as it gets the promotion, the satisfaction is fleeting, and the goalpost immediately moves. Now I need a bigger house. This bottomless hunger is not a sign of healthy ambition. It is a symptom of the ego's inability to find fulfillment in the present moment, because in the now, the ego cannot exist. This leads to its fourth directive, to live in time. The ego is a ghost that haunts the corridors of the past and the future. It feeds on the past through guilt, shame, and resentment. It feeds on the future through anxiety, worry, and desire. The pure, simple presence of the now is a profound threat to the ego, because in the now, there are no problems, only situations to be dealt with. In the now, your stories fall away, and without its stories, the ego begins to dissolve. Learning to free yourself from this tyrannical mechanism begins with learning to distinguish its voice from the silent knowing of your true self. The voice of the ego has very specific characteristics. It is loud, frantic, and compulsive. It is the noisy, repetitive chatter we identified as the echo chamber. Its primary motivation is always fear. Fear of not having enough, fear of not being enough, fear of judgment, fear of loss, fear of death. It constantly judges, criticizes, and compares, and it takes everything personally. A passing comment, a change in traffic, a rainy day, it interprets everything through the self-centered filter of, what does this mean for me? The voice of your true self, the silent observer or the soul, is entirely different. It is quiet, calm, and still. It does not shout, it whispers. Its guidance is always rooted in love, expansion, and a sense of unity. It does not judge, it accepts what is with a deep sense of peace. It is not needy, it is whole and content in the present moment. And it is impersonal. It sees life's events as happenings within a larger field, not as personal attacks or rewards. Consider this example. A colleague receives a promotion that you wanted. The ego's voice immediately erupts. This is an outrage. I worked so much harder. My boss has always had it in for me. I'll never get ahead in this company. This is a disaster. It's a story of victimhood, blame, fear, and personal attack. Now, listen for the voice of the observer. It would simply note, a promotion has occurred. The thought form, this is unfair, is arising. A feeling of disappointment, a tightness in the chest, is present in the body. There is no story, no blame, no catastrophe. There is only a calm, clear witnessing of inner and outer events. In the space created by that witnessing, you have the freedom to choose your response, rather than being a slave to your reaction. So what do we do when we recognize the ego's voice? The most common mistake is to fight it. To make the ego your enemy is to fall into the ego's favorite trap. The very act of fighting my ego creates a new, more subtle, and more self-righteous egoic identity. I am the spiritual person who is at war with my ego. This just strengthens the illusion of internal conflict. You cannot use the ego to defeat the ego. The path of liberation is not through war, but through awareness. It is the path of compassionate disidentification. When you hear the frantic, fearful voice of the ego, you do not argue with it. You do not try to suppress it. You simply shine the light of your observation on it and say to yourself, ah, that is the voice of the ego. That is the old survival program running. That is fear talking. In that moment of recognition, a space is created. You are no longer the thought. You are the awareness that is aware of the thought. You are no longer the armor. You are the one who notices the armor. In that space lies all your power and all your freedom. You can even take it a step further. Instead of being annoyed by the ego, you can feel a sense of compassion for it. See it for what it is. A frightened part of your own consciousness that was created to protect you when you were small and vulnerable. It is doing the only job it knows how to do. You can mentally thank it for its service. Thank you for trying to keep me safe. I appreciate your efforts, but I am an adult now. I am held by a greater intelligence, and I no longer need to be ruled by fear. This act of compassion disarms the ego with love It stops the inner war. The ego feeds on two things: your attention and your belief. When you stop believing its stories, and when you gently withdraw your undivided attention from its drama, it begins to weaken. You do not need to kill it. You simply stop feeding it. Its power naturally atrophies as you invest more and more of your identity, your sense of self, in the silent, spacious, peaceful presence of the observer, in the feeling of being the universe breathing through a human form. Life lived beyond the grip of the ego is not a bland, colorless existence. Your personality, your uniqueness, your gifts, they do not disappear. In fact, they shine more brightly than ever before, because they are no longer distorted by the filters of fear and neediness. Life becomes lighter, more spontaneous, more playful. You no longer take everything so personally, so you are not so easily offended or defensive. You act not from a desperate need to prove your worth or to get something from the world, but from a joyful, inspired impulse to give your unique gift, to play your unique note in the cosmic symphony. This compassionate process of disidentifying from the ego is the direct path to true and lasting peace. Yet, the ego will not relinquish its reign without using its most powerful weapon, its primary fuel source, one last time. To complete its dissolution, and to truly step into freedom, we cannot just ignore the ego's greatest tool. We must now be willing to turn around and look directly into the eyes of fear itself, and finally see it for the powerless illusion it truly is. We have walked the inner corridors of the mind, we have stood on the firm ground of our own worth, and we have begun to disidentify from the chattering, fearful voice of the ego. Now we arrive at the final gatekeeper, the guardian at the threshold of true freedom. This gatekeeper is the very fuel that the ego burns to maintain its illusory reign. It is the raw energy of fear. To complete our journey, we cannot bypass this guardian. We cannot trick it or run from it. We must summon our quiet courage, turn around, and look it directly in the eyes. Our entire life has been a masterclass in avoiding the direct experience of fear. We have become experts in evasion. We numb it with addictions. We distract ourselves with endless entertainment and busyness. We rationalize it away with complex intellectual arguments, or we suppress it until it manifests as chronic anxiety or physical illness. We will do anything and everything to avoid the raw, visceral sensation of fear itself, and in this constant act of running, we have given fear all of its power. A shadow that you run from will chase you forever, growing larger and more monstrous with every backward glance. The power of fear is not inherent in the fear itself. It is generated by your resistance to it. The moment you are willing to stop, to turn around, and to simply be with the feeling, you cut its power source. We are not here to fight fear. We are here to meet it with presence. To do this, we must first understand its nature. Fear is a phantom, a ghost that lives only in the mind. It has one defining characteristic: it is always about the future. Fear cannot exist in the pure, unadulterated present moment. In the now, there is only the situation at hand and your response to it. Fear arises when the mind leaves the present and projects a negative outcome onto a future that has not happened and may never happen. It is a story of what if, created from the raw material of past pain. You are not afraid of giving the speech. You are afraid of the imagined future moment of being judged. You are not afraid of being alone. You are afraid of the imagined future of endless loneliness. Fear is the act of mentally rehearsing a tragedy that is not occurring. Energetically, fear is a powerful contraction of your life force. It is a tightening, a closing down, a freezing. Think of how your body reacts to a sudden scare. Your muscles clench, your breath catches, your energy pulls inward into a tight, defensive knot. It is the opposite of love, which is an expansion, an opening, a radiating outward. This is why a life dominated by fear feels so small, so restrictive, and so draining. It is literally a state of constricted life force. The key to liberating yourself is to make the crucial distinction between the story the mind is telling and the raw physical sensation of the fear in your body. The story is the fuel. I'm going to lose everything. I'll be abandoned. I will fail. This narrative is what creates panic and drives compulsive behavior. The raw sensation, however, is just energy. It is a knot in the stomach, a tightness in the chest, a cold feeling in your extremities. The story is a complex illusion. The sensation is a simple, present moment reality. If you can bypass the story and go directly to the sensation, meeting it with awareness, you can allow this trapped energy to be processed and released. Let us use a metaphor. Imagine you are a child lying in bed in a dark room. In the corner, you see the shape of a huge and terrifying monster. Its silhouette is menacing. Its presence feels overwhelmingly real. As long as you stay huddled under the blankets, paralyzed by terror, the monster retains its power. Your avoidance, your refusal to look closely, is what keeps the monster alive and terrifying. The monster's power is derived entirely from the darkness and your unwillingness to face it. Now, imagine your wise, adult self, the conscious observer, enters the room. This presence does not scream at the monster or try to fight it. It does not pretend the monster isn't there. It does something incredibly simple and profoundly courageous. It walks over to the wall and calmly turns on the light. And in the instant the light floods the room, the monster is revealed for what it truly is: a pile of clothes thrown over a chair, a trick of the shadows. It was never a monster. Its terrifying form was an illusion created by the absence of light. Your loving, non-judgmental awareness is this light, and fear is this shadow monster. You do not need to fight it. You simply need to turn on the light. So let us practice turning on the light together. This is an exercise in courage and compassion. Be gentle with yourself. We will invite a fear into our space, to look it in the eyes. I ask you now to bring to mind a persistent fear in your life. Not necessarily a deep existential terror, but a significant and recurring one. Perhaps it is the fear of public speaking, the fear of financial insecurity, the fear of rejection, or the fear of conflict. Choose one. Now that you have it in mind, let the story go. For a moment, release the what-if scenarios. Let the narrative dissolve and bring your full attention into your body, your anchor. And ask, where does this fear live? Where is its energetic signature in my physical form? Scan your body with gentle curiosity. Is it a hollow, cold feeling in your gut? A rapid fluttering heartbeat? A constriction in your throat that makes it hard to swallow? A heavy pressure on your chest? Be specific. Locate it. Once you have found it, this is the pivotal moment. Instead of your lifelong habit of recoiling from this sensation, you are now going to consciously turn the beam of your awareness directly towards it. You are going to face the shadow monster. Your only instruction is to be with it. Do not try to change it. Do not wish it would go away. Do not analyze it. Simply feel it. Hold it in your awareness as you would hold a frightened bird in your hands, with firmness, but with immense tenderness. Now, begin to breathe with it. As you inhale, imagine your breath is a warm, loving light that can travel to that exact spot in your body. Imagine the breath gently surrounding the knot of fear, not to attack it, but to infuse it with presence and space. Your breath communicates a powerful message. I am willing to be here with you. I am willing to feel this. I am not running anymore. And as you exhale, feel a subtle softening, a gentle release. You are not pushing the feeling away. You are simply letting go of your resistance to the feeling. As you continue to hold this sensation in your steady, loving gaze, simply witness its nature. Notice its qualities. Is it vibrating or still? Is it moving or static? Is it sharp or dull? You will make a profound discovery. The sensation, when stripped of its story, is just a bundle of energy. It is not solid. It is not permanent. It is not who you are. And you will notice that as it is held in the light of your awareness, it begins to change. Its power source your fearful resistance and your belief in its story has been unplugged. The knot may begin to loosen, the tightness may soften, the coldness may warm. It may not disappear instantly, but you will have proven something to yourself on the visceral level. You are bigger than the fear. You are the space in which the fear is happening, not the fear itself. You are the light, not the shadow. Each time you perform this courageous act of meeting your fear with presence, you reclaim a piece of your power. The fear may still arise from time to time. It is a deeply ingrained habit, but it will no longer be a terrifying, monstrous dictator. It becomes a familiar sensation, a messenger you have learned to meet with calm awareness rather than panicked resistance. Your willingness to feel what you are afraid of is your ultimate liberation. As you become more practiced at meeting your fears with this quiet, courageous presence, you will find you have cultivated a new level of inner strength. You become ready to look into an even deeper, more subtle kind of darkness. You become ready to face not just the things you are afraid of in the world, but the very parts of yourself that you have judged, rejected, and hidden away. It is time now to embrace your own shadow. Having learned to meet our fears with the light of courageous presence, we find ourselves standing before a new threshold. We have gained the strength to look into the darkness outside of us, but now we must be willing to turn our gaze inward into the shadows of our own psyche. We are ready to meet and embrace the most misunderstood, feared, and yet most powerful part of ourselves, the shadow self. In the language of psychology, the shadow is the repository of everything within us that we have deemed unacceptable and have therefore suppressed and denied. It is not inherently evil. It is simply the collection of all our disowned parts. As we grew from children into adults, we learned very quickly that certain aspects of our being were met with approval, while others were met with disapproval, punishment, or shame. To ensure our survival and to maintain the love of our caregivers and our tribe, we made a subconscious bargain. We fractured ourselves. We put the acceptable parts on display: our kindness, our compliance, our strength, and we took the unacceptable parts: our anger, our vulnerability, our selfishness, our wildness, our authentic power, and shoved them down into the dark, unconscious basement of our minds. The shadow is this collection of exiled parts. The great spiritual lie is that wholeness is achieved by becoming all light. The truth is that you can only become whole by integrating your darkness. True light is not the absence of shadow. It is the courage to illuminate it. We have been taught to fear this inner basement, to keep the door locked and bolted. We imagine it is filled with monsters, but this is a profound misunderstanding. Your shadow is not a dungeon, it is a treasure vault. Think of the earth itself. On its sunlit surface grow the pretty flowers and the green grass. But where are the most precious materials found? The gold, the diamonds, the gleaming crystals, the rich oil that fuels the world. They are not on the surface. They are formed under immense pressure, in the absolute darkness of the deep earth. Your soul is no different. Your greatest treasures are hidden in your shadow. The fierce anger you were taught to suppress contains the pure gold of your personal power, your ability to set firm boundaries, and your passion for justice. The deep grief you were told to get over contains the diamonds of your boundless compassion and your capacity for profound human connection. The part of you that was shamed for being too much or too sensitive holds the treasure of your intuition and your artistic genius. The part you judged as selfish holds the vital key to healthy self-love and honoring your own sacred needs. For decades, you have been living on the surface of your being, while your greatest power and most authentic treasures have lain dormant, waiting in the dark for you to have the courage to come and claim them. How do we begin this excavation? The shadow, by its very nature, is unconscious, so we cannot simply look inside and see it directly. It reveals itself to us indirectly, primarily through its projections onto the world around us. Your shadow uses the people and events in your life as a movie screen to show you its contents. This is where the practice of seeing the world as a mirror becomes an essential tool for shadow work. Pay close attention to the people who trigger you most intensely. The person you judge with the most vehemence is often a perfect mirror for a part of your own disowned shadow. Is there someone at work you despise for being lazy and undisciplined? They may be a projection of your own suppressed need for rest, play, and non-doing. Because you are relentlessly hard on yourself, their freedom drives you mad. Is there someone you judge as arrogant and attention-seeking? Look closely. They may be mirroring the bright, confident, radiant part of you that you learned to dim down for fear of being seen as too full of yourself. The things that we cannot tolerate in others are almost always signposts pointing to an unexamined and unloved part of ourselves. The mirror also works in the positive. This is called the golden shadow. Think of the people you deeply admire or even idolize. The person whose courage leaves you in awe. The artist whose creativity seems magical. The leader whose charisma is captivating. Do not make the mistake of placing them on a pedestal, separate from you. Your profound admiration is the evidence that the very same qualities exist within you. You are seeing your own unowned gold reflected in them. Their presence in your life is a call from your soul to awaken and embody your own dormant courage, your own latent creativity, your own inner radiance. The shadow also makes itself known in moments when our conscious control falters. It appears in a sudden, uncharacteristic outburst of rage, a slip of the tongue that reveals a hidden truth, or a recurring pattern of self-sabotage that seems to defy all logic. These are not random errors in your programming. These are messages from the exile. It is the shadow, starved of your conscious attention, rattling the bars of its cage, demanding to be seen, heard, and integrated into the wholeness of your being. The journey of embracing the shadow is not one of battle or purification. It is one of compassionate curiosity and radical acceptance. It is the process of welcoming the exiles home. Let us take the first step in this practice of reclamation together. I invite you to bring to mind a quality in another person that you find particularly difficult, a trait you judge harshly. Perhaps it is selfishness, perhaps it is weakness, perhaps it is arrogance. Choose one. Hold the label and the feeling it evokes in your awareness. Now, with a spirit of courageous honesty, I ask you to look within yourself and find a single, tiny instance where you have embodied this very same trait. This is not an exercise in self-blame, but one of radical ownership. Can you remember a moment, however small, where you acted out of selfishness? A time you put your own needs first, perhaps clumsily or hurtfully? Can you recall a time you acted from a place of weakness, when you gave up or felt unable to cope? Just find the 1% of that trait in you. The simple, non-judgmental acknowledgement, yes, this too exists within me, is the first step of integration. It brings the trait out of the darkness of denial and into the light of awareness. The next step is to discover the hidden treasure within the trait. Ask yourself this powerful question: what is the positive, life-serving purpose of this energy? Look past the clumsy expression of the trait and find its noble root. The positive intent behind selfishness is the sacred act of self-preservation and honoring one's own needs as valid. The positive intent behind weakness is the ability to be vulnerable, to soften, to surrender, and to receive help from others. The positive intent behind anger is the protection of sacred boundaries and the fuel for passionate change. When you find the positive intent, you cease to see the trait as a flaw and begin to see it as a valuable power that has simply been misused or misunderstood. Finally, you perform the act of integration. Visualize that selfish or weak part of you. See it not as a monster, but as a small, misunderstood child who was exiled long ago. And from your wise, compassionate heart, speak to this part of yourself. Say to it, "I see you now. I understand your purpose. Thank you for trying to protect me. I am sorry that I rejected you. You are not bad. You are a valuable part of my wholeness. You are welcome here. You are home." Feel that exiled part of your energy returning to your core. being integrated back into your being. Feel the sense of relief and wholeness that comes with it. This is the work of becoming whole. Each time you reclaim a piece of your shadow, you stop wasting enormous amounts of psychic energy holding it down in the basement. That liberated energy becomes available to you for creativity, for love, for life itself. You become more compassionate towards others because you recognize their flaws as reflections of your own complex and beautiful humanity. Judgment withers at the root. You become truly authentic, not because you are a perfect being of pure light, but because you are a complete human being, brave enough to embrace all that you are. As we become more whole, more integrated, we find that our desperate search for peak spiritual experiences begins to fade. The profound sense of wholeness that comes from embracing our own light and darkness starts to infuse every corner of our lives. We no longer need to climb a distant mountaintop to find the divine. We begin to find it in the rhythm of our own breath, in the warmth of a cup of tea, in the most ordinary moments of our day. We are now ready to discover the sacred in the mundane. We have journeyed far into the inner world. We have faced the ego, embraced the shadow, and learned to look into the eyes of fear. And now, having done this deep inner work, we arrive at a crucial turning point where the path circles back to the very place it began. Ordinary life. For many who embark on a spiritual journey, there is a subtle expectation, a hidden hope, that the path will lead them away from the mundane, toward a life of perpetual peak experiences, cosmic visions, and dramatic states of bliss. The ego loves the idea of a future enlightenment, a grand graduation ceremony where it will finally be awarded a certificate of holiness. But this very seeking, this belief that this moment is not it, is the final and most subtle trap of the spiritual ego. The ultimate destination of the spiritual path is not to escape the ordinary. It is to penetrate it so deeply, so completely with the light of your awareness, that its sacred, miraculous nature is finally revealed. We have been conditioned to believe that God, truth, or the sacred is found in special places at special times. We search for it in ornate cathedrals, in silent monasteries, on distant mountaintops, or during our designated 20-minute meditation session in the morning. We have compartmentalized our lives into the spiritual and the regular. The 20 minutes on the cushion is our spiritual life. The remaining 23 hours and 40 minutes of washing dishes, commuting to work, answering emails, and caring for our families is our regular life, a series of chores to be endured, rushed through, or zoned out of, on the way to the next spiritual moment. This division is a complete illusion. It is a judgment created by the mind, and it is the primary source of the feeling that our lives are a stressful, unfulfilling grind. The universal consciousness, the presence you may call God, Spirit, or the observeress, not more present when you are sitting cross-legged than when you are tying your shoes. It is equally, totally, and unconditionally present in every single moment, in every single action, in every single place. It is not the universe that is absent from your daily life. It is you who are absent. You are not there. Your body may be washing the dishes, but your mind, your awareness, is lost in the echo chamber ruminating on a past argument or worrying about a future task. The goal, then, is not to make your life more spiritual. The goal is to bring your undivided spiritual presence to your life as it already is. The great Zen masters understood this perfectly. There is a famous saying, "Before enlightenment, chop wood, carry water. After enlightenment, chop wood, carry water." The outer activities of life do not necessarily change. A mortgage is still a mortgage. A crying baby still needs to be soothed. What changes is the inner state of the one performing the actions. Before enlightenment, the wood is chopped with a mind full of complaint and impatience. The water is carried with a sense of drudgery. After enlightenment, the wood is chopped with the full, silent, and joyful attention of the chopper. Each swing of the axe is a meditation. The weight of the water buckets, the feeling of the wooden handle in the hands becomes a sacrament. The entire world is transformed, not because the world has changed, but because you have finally shown up to it. Your kitchen sink can be as sacred an altar as any in a grand temple if you are willing to consecrate it with your presence. So how do we practice this? How do we perform this alchemy of transforming the lead of the mundane into the gold of the sacred? The technique is exquisitely simple. You withdraw your attention from the compulsive thinking of the mind from the past and the future, and you pour it 100% into the direct sensory experience of the present moment. You become an antenna for sensation. You inhabit your body so completely that there is no room left for the anxious ego to take hold. Let us walk through a few examples, turning the most common daily chores into profound spiritual practices. Let us begin with the ritual of washing a single dish. The next time you find yourself at the sink, resist the urge to do it on autopilot while your mind wanders. Instead, make the conscious decision to be fully present for the entire act. Begin by feeling the water. Don't just register it as hot or cold. Feel its precise temperature on your skin. Listen to the specific sound it makes as it flows from the faucet and strikes the basin. See the way the light reflects and refracts on its moving surface. Now, pick up the dish. Feel its weight in your hands. Feel its texture. Is it the smooth, cool glide of porcelain or the rough, earthy feel of pottery? Notice the shape, the curve of its rim. Now, introduce the soap. Watch the viscous liquid as it hits the sponge. Smell its fragrances, lemon, lavender, or something else. As you begin to wash, see the miracle of bubbles forming, a shimmering, iridescent universe of rainbow colors in each tiny sphere. Feel the slick, lubricating texture of the lather on your fingers. Hear the subtle, squeaking sound the sponge makes against the plate as it becomes clean. Your mind will inevitably wander. It will say, "This is boring. I have more important things to do. I need to remember to call my mother." Do not fight it. Do not judge it. Simply notice that the mind has wandered, and then gently, as you would guide a lost child by the hand, bring your attention back. Back to the feeling of the warm water, back to the smell of the soap, back to the physical sensation of the dish in your hands. Each time you return your attention, you are strengthening the muscle of presence. You are performing an act of profound meditation. You are finding the sacred in the suds. Let us now transform the simple act of walking into a moving meditation. Whether you are walking from your car to your office, or simply from one room of your house to another, you can turn it into a practice. Normally, we walk on autopilot, our heads lost in a fog of thought, our destination our only goal. Instead, bring your entire awareness down into your feet. Feel the complex and miraculous sequence of sensations. Feel your heel making contact with the ground. Feel the weight rolling through the arch of your foot. Feel the final push-off from your toes. Feel the moment your foot is suspended in the air before beginning the cycle again. Feel the texture of the ground through the soles of your shoes, it hard pavement, soft grass, or a polished floor. Now, expand your awareness to include your whole body. Feel the subtle swing of your arms, the gentle shift of weight in your hips. Feel the rhythm of your body moving through space. At the same time, open your senses to the world around you, but without the usual layer of mental labeling. See the color green of a leaf without thinking the word leaf. See the shape and color of a passing car without the label car. Just allow the raw sensory data of light, color, and shape to enter your consciousness. Hear the symphony of sounds around you, the bird song, the distant traffic, the whisper of the windows, a single, unified soundscape, without judging any sound as pleasant or unpleasant. Feel the sensation of the air on your skin. In these moments, you are not a person going somewhere. You are pure presence, experiencing the miracle of movement and sensation. Consider a simple daily habit, like drinking a cup of tea or coffee. This can become a 5-minute sacrament of pure delight. The practice begins with the preparation. Be present as you boil the water. Listen to the rising crescendo of its sound. Be present as you choose your favorite mug, feeling its familiar shape in your hands. As the hot water pours over the tea leaves or coffee grounds, lean in and inhale the steam. This is the first taste. Notice the complex aroma. What individual notes can you detect? As you hold the warm mug, feel the heat penetrating your palms, a comforting, grounding sensation. Before you take the first sip, simply gaze at the liquid. Notice its rich color, the wisp of steam dancing above it. Now, take the first sip with total, undivided attention. Don't just gulp it down. Let the liquid wash over your tongue. Notice its temperature, its texture, its complex profile of flavors: bitter, sweet, earthy, bright. Follow the sensation of the warm liquid as it travels down your throat and spreads a gentle warmth through your chest and stomach. Be completely present for the entire experience. From the first conscious inhalation of its aroma to the final satisfying swallow. A simple cup of tea, when met with your full presence, becomes more nourishing and joyful than the most expensive banquet consumed in a state of distraction. When you begin to live this way, bringing this quality of reverent attention to the small, ordinary moments of your life, everything changes. The stress of modern life is primarily caused by the inner conflict of being physically in one place while your mind is in another. When you are fully present with the task at hand, this conflict dissolves and the stress dissolves with it. Joy is amplified beyond measure. You begin to extract every drop of beauty and pleasure from simple experiences that you previously overlooked. Time itself seems to expand. When you are not constantly lost in the mental projections of past and future, you discover a spaciousness in your day, a sense of having all the time in the world. Your entire life becomes your spiritual practice. A traffic jam is no longer a source of frustration. It is an opportunity to sit, breathe, and observe the workings of your own mind. A tedious chore is no longer a burden. It is a lesson in focus and presence. The relentless search for a future moment of enlightenment is over, because you have discovered that the sacred is not a place you must journey to. It is a presence you must learn to embody. You are no longer waiting for life to become sacred. You are consecrating your life with your attention, moment by ordinary moment. You have found the kingdom of heaven, as the mystics have always promised, not in a distant time or place, but right here, at hand, in the simple, profound, and miraculous reality of the mundane. As you begin to live in this state of embodied presence, consecrating each moment with your awareness, your actions in the world take on a new quality. They are no longer born from unconscious reaction, but from conscious presence. This has a profound effect on the energetic ripples you send out into the world, and consequently, on the ripples that return to you. We are now ready to understand the elegant law of karma, not as a system of cosmic punishment, but as a simple, impersonal feedback mechanism for a conscious life. As we learn to inhabit our lives with an embodied presence, bringing the light of our awareness into the most mundane moments, our actions in the world begin to transform. They cease to be unconscious reactions born of past conditioning and become instead conscious choices made from a place of stillness. This shift has a profound and inescapable consequence. For every action we take, every thought, every word, every deed is a cause that sets in motion an inevitable effect. It is time now to look with clear eyes at the most misunderstood and feared of all spiritual laws. It is time to understand the elegant, impersonal, and ultimately compassionate law of karma. For millennia, the concept of karma has been shrouded in fear and superstition. We have been taught to see it as a form of cosmic justice, a divine accounting system run by an unseen scorekeeper who tallies our good and bad deeds. We imagine a celestial judge who dispenses rewards for virtue and punishments for sin, often across the vast and unknowable expanse of past lifetimes. In this view, our present suffering is often interpreted as a punishment for some forgotten crime, and our good fortune as a reward for some unknown merit. This interpretation, while born from a genuine attempt to make sense of life's seeming injustices, is a primitive and ego-based understanding of a law that is as neutral, impersonal, and reliable as the law of gravity. The universe is not a judgmental parent. It is a unified field of intelligent energy that operates on the flawless principle of cause and effect. Karma is not a system of punishment and reward. It is a system of feedback. It is the universe's perfect, non-judgmental mirror, showing you the energetic quality of your own actions. To understand this, we must expand our definition of action. The word karma in Sanskrit literally means action or deed, but it encompasses far more than just our physical movements. Every action is a cause, a seed planted in the field of consciousness. This includes the obvious physical actions we take. It includes our words, which are powerful vibrations that shape the energy of a room and the hearts of others. It includes our thoughts, which are subtle but real impulses of energy that form the blueprint for our outer world. But most importantly, karma is determined by the intention behind the thought, word, or deed. The underlying motive, the vibrational frequency from which the action arises, is the most crucial component of the karmic seed. An act of charity performed out of a desire for public recognition plants a very different seed than the same act performed out of a silent, selfless compassion. The outer form may be the same, but the inner energetic cause is worlds apart. Imagine your consciousness as a vast, perfectly still lake. Every action you take is like picking up a stone and throwing it into this lake. The stone is your thought, your word, your deed, infused with the energy of your intention. The act of throwing the stone is the cause. The moment the stone hits the water, it creates ripples that spread outward in every direction. This is the effect, moving through the interconnected field of universal consciousness. It is a law of nature that you cannot create the act of throwing the stone without also creating the ripples. And it is another law of nature that those ripples, upon reaching the farthest shores of the lake, will eventually turn and begin to travel back to their point of origin. The return of these ripples to the very spot on the shore where you are standing is the experience of your karma coming to fruition. It is not a punishment, it is not a reward. It is the simple, elegant, and unavoidable completion of an energetic circuit you yourself initiated. This feedback does not always return immediately. The ripples may take a long time to travel across the vast lake, which is why we often fail to connect a present effect with its distant cause. But the law is as certain as gravity. The energetic signature of every action is imprinted upon the fabric of the cosmos, and it will, in its own perfect timing, return to its source. When we can see karma through this lens, not as a moral judge but as a compassionate teacher, the fear and guilt surrounding it begin to dissolve. If you are experiencing a period of suffering, you are not being punished. You are simply receiving clear, impersonal feedback about a past action or state of consciousness where you were out of alignment with the truth of your own being, out of harmony with the universal laws of love and unity. The suffering is not the point. It is a signal. It is a loving alarm bell from the universe, inviting you to look at the feedback, learn from it, and make a different choice now. The purpose of karma is not to condemn you to your past, but to liberate you from it by making you conscious of your own creative power. Let us learn how to read this feedback. When a recurring negative pattern shows up in your life, instead of falling into the ego's trap of victimhood, why is this always happening to me? You can step into the role of a conscious student and ask, what is this experience trying to teach me? What past cause, what energetic frequency of mine is this the effect of? For example, if you find yourself surrounded by deceit, if people consistently lie to you or betray your trust, you are experiencing the return of the ripples of dishonesty. This is a clear feedback inviting you to conduct a fearless inventory of your own integrity. Where in your life, past or present, have you been less than honest with others? More subtly, where have you been deceiving yourself? The outer world is simply mirroring a seed of deceit you planted, calling you back to a state of radical, impeccable honesty. If you find yourself constantly surrounded by harsh, judgmental people who criticize your every move, you are experiencing the feedback of the energy of judgment. Look within. Where are you broadcasting this frequency? Are you a harsh critic of others? Even more commonly, are you a merciless judge of yourself? The outer criticism is a direct reflection of your own inner critic. The universe is showing you the painful, energetic result of judgment. The lesson is to consciously cultivate the opposite frequency, the frequency of compassion, acceptance, and unconditional love, first for yourself and then for others. This law, of course, also works for positive experiences. If your life is filled with kind, generous, and supportive people who lift you up, see this not as a random stroke of luck or a reward. See it as the beautiful and natural harvest of the karmic seeds you yourself have planted. Recognize that it is the direct feedback from your own acts of kindness, your own generosity of spirit, your own supportive energy returning to you. By consciously acknowledging this connection, you empower yourself to plant even more of these beautiful seeds. This new understanding of karma raises a crucial question. Are we then prisoners of our past, doomed to endlessly suffer the consequences of past mistakes? The answer is an emphatic no. Karma is not fate. Karma is an energetic tendency, a momentum, but it is not a fixed destiny. The power to change your karma exists entirely in one place, the present moment. The moment you bring your conscious awareness to a returning karmic ripple, you interrupt the cycle. Here is how it works. When a difficult situation arises, the returning ripple-the unconscious person reacts automatically. They react with anger, fear, blame, or despair. In this unconscious reaction, they throw another stone into the lake with the same negative energy, thus planting a new seed for future suffering. They are trapped in a self-perpetuating loop, but the conscious person has another option. When the difficult situation arises, you can learn to pause. You can meet the returning ripple with the spaciousness of your presence. This is the practice of karmic completion. First, you acknowledge the effect without resistance. I am experiencing this difficulty. I am feeling this pain. Second, you take responsibility without blame. I understand and accept that my own past actions and state of consciousness have contributed to the creation of this moment. This is not self-flagellation. This is an act of supreme empowerment. It is taking the reins of your life back into your own hands. Third, you meet the feeling of the discomfort in your body with your full presence, as we have practiced. You breathe into it. You allow the painful energy to be metabolized by the light of your awareness without reacting to it. And finally, in that clear space of presence, you consciously choose a new cause. You plant a new seed. Faced with a situation that would have previously triggered anger, you can choose to plant a seed of compassion. Faced with a situation that would have triggered fear, you can choose to plant a seed of trust. This conscious choice, made in the present moment, sends out a new, high-frequency ripple that begins to counteract and neutralize the momentum of the old one. This is how you change your karma. This is how you change your destiny, moment by conscious moment. You do not need to know the specific details of a past life to heal your karma. The universe is infinitely efficient and compassionate. All the karmic patterns that are relevant for your soul's evolution are showing up in the curriculum of your life right now, presenting themselves as your recurring challenges, your deepest fears, and your most difficult relationships. Your life, exactly as it is the perfect karmic gymnasium designed for your awakening. Therefore, let go of the fear of karma. See it for what it is, a beautiful, impersonal, and unerring guidance system, always pointing you back towards alignment, back towards love, back towards your true self. The power to change is not in the past or the future. It is entirely in the quality of your presence now. Every conscious breath you take, every mindful action you perform, every choice you make from a place of love instead of fear, plants a seed of grace that creates a new and liberated future. You are not a prisoner of your karma. You are its gentle and powerful master, in the eternal now. This awesome power to consciously choose a new action, to plant a new karmic seed in the face of old, returning patterns, exists in a very specific place. It is not found in grand, sweeping gestures, but in a tiny, sacred, and infinitely potent gap. It is the space that lies between a stimulus from the world and your response to it. And learning to inhabit that space is the key to all freedom. We have explored the great, sweeping laws of the cosmos, the law of vibration, the law of karma, and seen how they shape the landscape of our lives. Now, we must bring our attention from the macrocosm to the microcosm, to the single point in space and time where all of our power truly resides. This power to interrupt a negative karmic cycle, to choose a higher vibration, to live a life of freedom rather than reaction, exists in a place that is infinitesimally small, yet infinitely profound. It is the sacred, silent gap that lies between a stimulus from the world and your response to it. And learning to find, inhabit, and expand this space is the master key to all liberation. For most of us, for most of our lives, this space does not seem to exist. We live as reactive machines, as billiard balls on the table of life. A stimulus occurs, and an instantaneous, predictable reaction follows. Another driver cuts you off in traffic, the stimulus. A surge of angry adrenaline, a blaring horn, and a shouted curse, the reaction. A critical email from your boss lands in your inbox, the stimulus. A knot of anxiety in your stomach, a defensive posture, and a hastily written, emotionally charged reply, the reaction. Your child spills their juice, the stimulus, a sharp, impatient word, the reaction. In this mode of being, we are not free. We are slaves to our conditioning, puppets pulled by the strings of external events and our own deeply ingrained emotional patterns. The great secret, the truth upon which all spiritual practice is built, is that this direct, automatic link is an illusion. Between stimulus and response, there is a space. It may be only a fraction of a second long, but it is there. In that space lies your power to choose your response, and in that choice lies your growth, your freedom, and your ability to consciously create your life. To live as a reactive machine is to be at the effect of the world. To learn to inhabit this space is to become a conscious cause. Why does this space feel so small, so non-existent? It is because we have spent a lifetime paving over it. Neurologically, every time you react to a particular stimulus in the same way, you strengthen a specific neural pathway in your brain. A stimulus occurs, and the energy of your brain automatically flows down this well-worn superhighway of reaction, triggering the familiar emotion and behavior before your conscious, rational mind even has a chance to engage. This is why reactions feel so instantaneous and uncontrollable. You have created a conditioned reflex. This reflex is also stored in the memory of your body. The clenched jaw of resentment, the shallow breath of anxiety, the slumped shoulders of defeat, these are physical postures that are triggered just as automatically as the neural firing. Your body remembers how to react. The ego, as well, has a vested interest in keeping this space closed. The ego thrives on drama, conflict, and reaction because these things reinforce its identity and its stories. If someone insults you, the ego wants you to feel offended and lash out. It reinforces the ego's identity as a victim who must defend itself. A conscious, peaceful, non-reactive response is a profound threat to the ego's existence. It proves that you are not the angry, victimized character it pretends you are. And so, the machinery of the mind and body conspires to keep you in the loop of stimulus and reaction. To break this loop, let us use a metaphor. Imagine a thunderstorm. First, there is the brilliant, sudden flash of lightning across the sky. This is the stimulus. It is an undeniable event of energy. Then, a moment later, comes the deep, rolling roar of thunder. This is the reaction. To the casual observer, it feels like a single unified event. Lightning, thunder, But we know that this is not true. There is a pause between them. Light travels much faster than sound. No matter how close the storm, there is always a silent gap between the flash and the sound. In the storm of your life, the external event is the lightning flash. Your conditioned, automatic, emotional behavioral response is the thunder. For the unconscious person, life is a constant, jarring series of lightning thunder events. But the practice of presence, of mindfulness, is the art of becoming aware of that silent gap. At first, you may only notice it in retrospect. The thunder of your anger roars, and a minute later you realize, I reacted automatically again. This is the first step you have noticed the pattern. With continued practice, you begin to catch yourself during the reaction. The thunder starts to rumble, but you become aware of it as it's happening, which already lessens its power. But the true point of mastery, the place of all freedom, is when you learn to find the space before the thunder begins at all. In the silent, pregnant pause after the lightning flashes, you realize you have a choice. You do not have to create thunder. You can choose to respond with the gentle patter of rain, or the cool breeze of understanding, or even the profound power of pure silence. This is the practical, moment-to-moment application of all that we have learned. This is where the rubber of spiritual theory meets the road of daily life. Let us walk through the practice of widening this sacred gap. The first step is simply to live your life, knowing that the lightning will flash. A stimulus will occur. It is inevitable. Someone will say something you don't like. A plan will fall through. Your car will get a flat tire. Do not waste your energy trying to create a world with no lightning. The world is full of it. The second step is the most crucial, the one that changes everything. The instant the lightning flashes, you must train yourself to pause. Before the thought forms, before the word is spoken, before the body tenses for action, you create a deliberate pause. And the simplest, most powerful way to do this is to take one single, conscious breath. In that moment, as the stimulus hits your nervous system, you turn your full attention to the feeling of the air entering your nostrils, filling your lungs, and then leaving your body. Or you bring your full attention to the feeling of your feet planted firmly on the floor. This simple act of anchoring your awareness in a present moment bodily sensation is a circuit breaker. It interrupts the well-worn neural highway of automatic reaction. It pulls your awareness out of the mind's story and into the body's reality. It creates the sacred space. The third step happens within this newly created space. Now that you are not being swept away by the reaction, you can become the observer of the reaction that wants to happen. You can witness it with a calm detachment. There is the familiar heat of anger rising in my chest. There is the thought, this is completely unfair. I feel the impulse in my arms to lash out. I can feel the defensive words forming on my tongue. You see it all as a conditioned, impersonal pattern. You recognize the familiar rumble of the thunder before it has a chance to roar. You see it for what it is, an old habit, not the truth of who you are. The fourth step is where you reclaim your divinity. From this calm, centered, and spacious place of observation, you now have the power to choose. You are no longer a slave to the thunder. You can access your higher intelligence, your compassion, your wisdom. You can ask yourself, given my deepest values, what is the most aligned and constructive response here? Faced with an insult, instead of returning it, you might recognize the other person's pain and choose to respond with a compassionate silence. Faced with an unexpected bill, instead of panicking, you might breathe and choose to respond with calm, creative problem solving. Faced with a mistake you've made, instead of collapsing into shame, you might choose to respond with self-compassion and a commitment to learn. The choice is yours. In that space, you are free. This is where true freedom is forged. It is not won on grand battlefields or in dramatic confrontations. It is won in the silent, invisible, micro moments of your day. Each time you choose to pause, each time you choose a conscious response over a conditioned reaction, you are weakening the old neural pathways of suffering and carving new neural pathways of peace and freedom. You are actively rewiring your brain and reconditioning your body. You are taking back your power from the world and placing it back in the center of your own being. As you master this sacred pause, as you consistently learn to choose your response from a place of presence rather than a place of past conditioning, you are no longer simply a piece on the chessboard of life, being moved about by external forces. You are becoming the player. You are actively and consciously participating in the creation of your experience, moment by moment. You begin to understand, in the most profound and embodied way, that you are not just a creature of circumstance. You are both the creator and the creation. We have journeyed through the innermost landscapes of the self, from the echo chamber of the mind to the sacred space between each breath. We have learned to face our fears, embrace our shadows, and stand on the firm ground of our inherent worth. We have mastered the sacred pause, that potent gap between the world's stimulus and our own conscious response. And as we stand in that space of quiet power, a final, magnificent truth dawns upon our awareness, a realization that synthesizes all that has come before. It is the understanding that you are not merely a passive observer navigating a pre-written reality. You are not a pawn on a cosmic chessboard, moved by the hands of fate. You are, in this very moment and in all moments, both the creator and the creation. This is the ultimate paradox of human existence, the sacred mystery that the mystics have spoken of for millennia. You are the wave, a finite, beautiful, and temporary expression of form, experiencing the ocean. But you are also, simultaneously, the entire, infinite, and eternal ocean, expressing itself for a time as a wave. There is no separation. You are not a sculpture being passively shaped by the universe. You are the living clay, and you are also the hands of the sculptor. You are not a character in a story written by a distant author. You are the character, and you are also the author, holding the pen, with the power to begin a new chapter at any time. Let us now gather the threads of our journey, for each practice we have explored is one of the divine tools of creation, and it is time for you to recognize the power you now wield. All creation begins with the clear sight of the observer. This is the sculptor's eye. Before the sculptor touches the clay, they must first see it clearly. They must step back from their own mental chatter, their doubts, and their preconceived notions, and simply be present with the raw material. This is the power you have cultivated. By learning to watch your thoughts without becoming them, you have learned to step back from the raw material of your life's circumstances and see them with a calm, non-judgmental clarity. You are no longer lost in the drama. You are the still presence that perceives the drama, the first and most essential step for any conscious artist. Next, you learn to manage your vibration. This is the quality of the clay itself. You cannot sculpt a masterpiece of joyful expansion from the dense, heavy clay of fear, resentment, and unworthiness. The inner work you have done of tending to your emotional state, of choosing gratitude, of cultivating love and peace has been the sacred work of preparing your creative substance. You have learned that your state of being is not a random byproduct of your life. It is the very cause of it. By consciously choosing a higher frequency, you are choosing to work with a finer, more responsive, and more beautiful material. With this refined material, you learn to apply your aligned intention. This is the sculptor's vision. A master sculptor does not approach the clay aimlessly. They hold a clear vision in their mind and heart, not necessarily of every minute detail, but of the essential form, the feeling, the spirit they wish to bring forth. This is the power you have claimed. You have learned to distinguish the needy, grasping wants of the ego from the clear, calm, soul-deep intentions of your higher self. You have learned to focus not on the specific, rigid form, but on the underlying essence of the reality you choose to create, the essence of freedom, of wholeness, of love, of abundance. This is your divine blueprint. and you have learned to use the sacred pause between stimulus and response. These are the sculptor's hands. This is where the vision meets the clay. In every moment of your day, life presents you with a stimulus. The unconscious person, the unpracticed sculptor, reacts with a clumsy, accidental jab at the clay, often creating a shape they did not intend. But you have learned to pause. In that sacred gap, you bring your hands, your choices to the clay with deliberation and skill. You choose a response that is in alignment with your vision. You respond with compassion instead of anger. You respond with trust instead of fear. You respond with presence instead of distraction. Each of these conscious choices is a masterful touch, a gentle pressure, a skillful shaping of the clay of your life, moving it ever closer to the form held in your heart. Finally, you learned the wisdom of surrender. This is the sculptor's trust in the process. After shaping the clay, the sculptor must release it to the kiln. They do not sit and worry, or try to control the fire. They trust the alchemical process that will transform the soft clay into a hardened, permanent form. This is your surrender. Having clarified your vision, prepared your vibrational clay, and made your conscious choices, you release the how and the when to the great kiln of the universe. You trust that the immutable laws we have discussed, the law of resonance, the law of cause and effect, will perfectly and inevitably bring your inner creation into outer form. To deepen this realization, let us embrace one final metaphor, that of the dreamer and the dream. We begin our lives as unconscious dream characters. We believe we are separate individuals inside a vast, unpredictable dream that we have no control over. The plot happens to us. The monsters are real. The treasures are out of reach. We are at the mercy of the dream's narrative. This is the consciousness of the victim. Then, through practices like the ones we have explored, something remarkable happens. You begin to wake up inside the dream. This is the experience of lucid dreaming. You are still the dream character, walking through the dreamscape, but you suddenly have the stunning realization, this is a dream, and I am the one dreaming it. This is a moment of exhilarating empowerment. The dream is no longer a separate reality happening to you. You realize it is a projection of your own consciousness. The monster is a projection of your fear. The landscape is a projection of your beliefs. And because you are dreaming it, you can influence it. You can choose to face the monster and watch it dissolve. You can choose to fly, defying the dream's laws of gravity. You can change the scenery with the power of your intention. This is the state of the conscious creator. You have realized the world is a mirror, and you are learning to change the reflection by changing your inner state. But there is one final layer to this awakening. It is the realization that you are not just the lucid dream character who is influencing the dream. You are the silent, boundless consciousness that is dreaming the entire production in the first place. You are the dreamer. The character you call me, the other characters, the challenges, the triumphs is all woven from the very fabric of your own being. The distinction between the creator and the creation dissolves completely. The you that is shaping the dream and the dream that is being shaped are one and the same. Your personal act of creation is the universe itself in the act of creation. The thought arising in your mind is a thought arising in the mind of God. The love swelling in your heart is the love of the cosmos itself. To live with this awareness is to take on a new sense of responsibility, not as a heavy burden, but as a joyous liberation. It means you can no longer authentically blame any person, condition, or circumstance for your experience of life. How can you? If you are the dreamer, you cannot blame the characters in your dream for the plot. The power to change the dream lies, and has always lain, entirely within you. This is the ultimate freedom. Life ceases to be a series of problems to be solved or threats to be managed. It becomes a masterpiece to be painted, a poem to be written, a symphony to be composed. You approach the events of your life not with anxiety, but with a sense of artistic and creative curiosity. A challenge is no longer a catastrophe. It is an interesting new texture to work with, a dramatic new color to add to your canvas. You ask not, "How will I survive this?" but rather, "What beautiful thing can I create from this? How can I shape this raw material into an expression of wisdom and grace?" And because you are creating from a place of fundamental wholeness, from the knowledge that you are already complete, your creation becomes a form of play. You are no longer desperately creating to find security, to win approval, or to prove your worth. You have nothing to prove. You are already worthy. You are already whole. So you create for the sheer joy of it. You create as the sun shines, as a bird sings, because it is your nature to do so. You create with the light, playful and powerful energy of the universe itself, which births galaxies not out of need, but out of an explosion of divine, joyful expression. Look at your life. Look at the relationships, the circumstances, the state of your body and mind. This is your current work of art. It is a perfect self-portrait of your state of consciousness up to this moment. Look upon it not with judgment, but with love and reverence for the journey that has brought you here. And know, with an unshakable certainty, that you are the artist. You hold the brush of your awareness and the palette of your vibration in your hands. And in this moment, and the next, you are free to add a new brushstroke, to choose a new color, to begin a new masterpiece. And so you stand now, at the peak of creative empowerment. You have claimed your tools. You understand the laws of creation. You have accepted your role as the conscious creator of your world. And here, at the very summit of this mountain of understanding, where the view is clearest and the air is most thin, the final and most sublime spiritual truth reveals itself. It is the realization that the ultimate act of creation is not to build a more perfect reality, but to let go of the need to build anything at all. The final step is to dissolve the creator and simply, magnificently, become the creation. It is the final, total, and most graceful letting go. We have climbed a great mountain together. From the misty valleys of the unconscious mind, we ascended through the challenging terrains of fear and shadow, across the sunlit plateaus of worthiness and presence, and have now arrived at the breathtaking summit of understanding yourself as the conscious creator of your world. You stand here now, holding the tools of creation, aware of the laws of the cosmos, feeling the potent energy of your own divine nature. The view is clear, vast, and empowering. And here, at this very peak of knowing, at this pinnacle of power, we must take the final step, the one that can only be taken from this great height. It is the most radical, most graceful, and most liberating step of all. It is the final letting go. It is the realization that the ultimate purpose of becoming a master creator is to gain the freedom to let go of the need to create anything at all. The final act is to dissolve the creator and simply, magnificently, merge with the creation. For your entire journey, you have been a seeker. You have sought answers, understanding, peace, and enlightenment. This seeking has been a necessary and beautiful part of your path. It has been the fuel that has propelled you up this mountain. But all seeking, no matter how spiritual, is based on a subtle premise of separation and lack. It implies that what you are looking for is not here now, that you are not yet whole. All the concepts we have explored together, the observer, vibration, karma, the creator, have been invaluable tools. They are like a sturdy boat that has carried you across a turbulent ocean to a new shore. But once you have arrived on the shore, you do not strap the boat to your back and carry it with you. You thank it for its service, and you leave it behind. To cling to the concepts, even the most profound spiritual concepts, is to miss the reality they point to. The ego, in its infinite cunning, can make a final hiding place in the identity of the spiritual person. It can become the one who knows, the one who is awakened, the one who understands the laws of the universe. It becomes attached to its spiritual knowledge, just as it was once attached to its material possessions. The subtle need to have an answer for everything, to have a conceptual framework for the mystery of existence, is the ego's last and most tenacious stand. But the ultimate reality, the great isness you may call God or Tao, is an infinite mystery. It is boundless. It cannot be captured in any word, any teaching, any system of thought, including this one. To believe you have the final answer is to draw a small box in the sand and claim you have captured the entire ocean. The highest wisdom is to dissolve the need for answers and to learn to live in the beauty of the question. Let us use one last metaphor. Imagine a great scholar. He has dedicated his entire life to studying a magnificent river. His library is filled with thousands of books about this river. He knows its precise chemical composition, its geological history, its seasonal flow rates, the entire taxonomy of its flora and fauna. He can lecture for days with breathtaking brilliance and accuracy about the river. He is the world's foremost expert, but he has never once left his library to touch the water. His knowledge is vast, but it is conceptual, secondhand. He knows everything about the river, but he does not know the river. Now, imagine a sage. One day the sage walks into the scholar's library, smiles gently, and then walks out, leaving all the books behind. He journeys to the bank of that same river. He takes off his sandals, sits upon a warm stone, and places his bare feet in the cool, flowing water. He does not ask where the river came from. He does not ask where it is going. He does not try to analyze its contents or measure its speed. He simply, totally, and silently merges with the direct sensory experience of the river itself. He feels the current against his skin. He watches the sunlight dance upon its surface. He listens to its timeless song. He has no answers about the river because he has dissolved the questions. He has become one with the river. He has moved from knowing to being. This is the final invitation. It is the invitation to leave the library of knowledge and come to the riverbank of life. It is the invitation to let go of the need to be the creator, the knower, the one who is in charge, and to simply be, to be the presence, to be the stillness, to be the love, without a label, without a goal, and without a need for a future state of becoming. This is not a formal practice with steps to follow. It is an undoing. It is a new way of living, a new posture of the soul. It is the practice of gently letting go of all the labels you have held, including the spiritual ones. You are not a meditator. You are not awakened. You are not enlightened. These are more costumes, more roles for the ego to play. Can you let them all drop and simply rest in the unadorned, naked reality of your own presence? It is the practice of embracing the three most sacred words in any language: I don't know. In our culture, this phrase is seen as a statement of ignorance, but in the realm of spirit, it is a portal to infinite wisdom. When faced with the great mysteries of life and death, of love and suffering, instead of rushing to a memorized answer from a book or a teacher, can you find the courage to rest in the vast, open, and fertile space of I don't know? This is not an empty space. It is a space pregnant with possibility. It is the silence from which a deeper, intuitive truth, a truth beyond all concepts, can finally emerge. This new way of being can be felt as a posture. The mind that seeks to know, to control, and to create has clenched fists, always trying to grasp and hold on to certainty. The being that has surrendered into the mystery lives with open hands. There is no tension, no grasping. The hands are open, ready to receive whatever life brings and ready to let it go just as easily. It is a state of profound trust, a deep relaxation into the very heart of reality. You are no longer trying to steer the river. You have realized you are the river, and you trust its intelligent flow. And so, we come to the end of our climb. The journey that began with a desperate search for answers ends in the peaceful silence of no questions. The path that began with the intention of self-improvement ends with the realization that the self was already, and always has been, whole and complete. You were never broken. You were only dreaming that you were. You are not here to find the answer. You are the answer. An answer that is expressing itself as a beautiful, mysterious, and unanswerable question. Your life is that question. Live it, be it, savor its exquisite mystery. There is nowhere else to go. There is nothing else to become. Be still. Be here. The journey is complete. The journey is this moment. The whisper we heard at the beginning of our journey, the one that spoke of a great quest leading not outward but inward, has now become the very air we breathe. The frantic search is over. The maps have been discarded. The guidebooks have been put away. You have arrived not at a final destination, but at your own point of origin. You have come home to the simple, sacred, and miraculous truth of your own being. You have walked through the echo chamber of your mind and found the silence behind it. You have met the calm, unwavering observer within. You have learned to see your emotions as a compass, your body as an anchor, and the world as a flawless mirror. You have felt the unspoken language of vibration, and you have stood on the firm, unshakable ground of your own inherent worth. You have untangled yourself from the past, and you have learned the art of creating your future, not from a place of lack, but from the quiet power of aligned intention. And then you learn to let it all go. You stopped searching. You stopped running. You stopped trying to become. And in the great, profound silence that followed, a silence you once mistook for emptiness, you finally heard it. It was not a voice of words, but a feeling of recognition, a sound closer to you than your own heartbeat. It was the universe, and it was calling you by your own name. For you are not a drop in its ocean. You are the entire ocean, experiencing itself in a single, precious drop. What happens now? What is the next step on the path? Nothing and everything. The world will continue to turn. The sun will rise. The breath will continue to move in and out of your body, but you will meet it all from a new place. Not from the constricted space of the fearful ego, but from the open, spacious, and loving heart of the observer. You will chop the wood, you will carry the water, but you will do so with the full, rich, and simple presence of your entire being. This journey is not meant to be a one-time experience. It is a place you can return to again and again. Let these words be a sanctuary, a reminder, a tuning fork to bring you back to the peace of your own center whenever the noise of the world becomes too loud. Just be, just breathe. The journey is over. The journey is this moment. And so, it is just beginning.